You're welcome, thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Deborah Robinson. Call me Deb. A lot of times I say Deborah and people end up calling me Barbara. I don't know why, they just reverse it. But Deborah, either one will work. So today we're covering contract to close, which is an exciting time because you're one step closer to meeting. I think I know, yeah, I introduced myself, I think I know everyone. Carol. So we are, what page are around here? So get your head in the game. So I'll do a bit of reading. I'm not my first time following through on the Ignite teaching, but basically contract to close process. Here's 3 steps. One is that the transaction closes on time as expected. The process is smooth and painless for all your parties involved. And you win future business due to your 10+ customer experience. I find that once you get to this stage of getting closer to putting in an offer and getting it accepted, it's an exciting time and it's also a nerve-wracking time. So a lot of agents, I remember, I've been in the business, by the way, for 16 years now. I was with Royal LePage for 12 of those years and switched to Keller Williams when we opened up here, so that approximately 4 years ago. I learned a lot working with Royal LePage at the St. Clair branch, which is a corporate office, and they're awesome. I have nothing bad to say about Royal LePage. In fact, you're more incubated. So when I worked there, the staff did the offers for you. So you didn't actually have to prepare an offer. I could be driving around, I'd call in and ask the receptionist to, yeah, can you write up this offer for me, give them the address, the conditions I want, the closing date, which to me sounds very far-fetched. It's like, wow, that, you know, it was easy. Now we do our own offers. I think you guys, has everyone done an offer? Pretty much in the room, you know the process, right? So it's pretty exciting, but it's also nerve-wracking. For me, I still, to this day, I like to take my time. You need to do your research. You need to get all your information about the property that you're putting in the offer on once you get to that stage. I like a quiet room. I need all my notes in front of me, the impact, the geo-warehouse information, everything that you're going to put in the offer. It's very important, I think, that you start the offer. Yeah, it's very warm. Yeah, thank you. From the get-go, it's important, I think, that you start out with a clean offer and a concise offer. A lot of times we accept or other agents are receiving offers and it's messy, or there's mistakes, and it's acceptable. We're new and we make mistakes and you can be corrected on it, but sometimes it can be very costly. And you can't get back or return from that mistake. So it's important that you take the time to focus on the offer, think about it, think about what's going in there. I think it's also very important to be in touch with the other agent at this time, super important. The impression that you make at this time, and I in all my career in real estate, I found it to be very important. How you present yourself, even to the other agent. I mean, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, it doesn't matter about them, it's yourself. You want to be professional, you want to conduct yourself in a professional way, and you are representing your client. And it's great for them to know that, you know what, I have a super agent here that's really going full out and presenting themselves well for me. So even in discussions with the other agent, it's important to be polite, not to be rude. I mean, there's a lot of us out there, and some agents are very, you know, they can be rude, they can be different, they can give you a cold shoulder on questions you ask. Doesn't matter, you should always just keep yourself professional and ask the right questions. How to put in, ask important questions also, you know, how many offers are on the table right now? Another important question would be, is one of the offers your buyers? You know, are you representing both sides? So very important to ask the right questions and present yourself well when starting the process, which is writing up the offer. Let's see here. So I'm going through out the checklist also. You're supposed to, well, you will have, and you should on your own, start your own checklist. You could follow through. Ignite has so much great information, but checklists for buyers and checklists for sellers when it comes to working towards closing. Both will be very different in terms of who you're representing. Of course, if you're representing a buyer, you're going to get into many different processes stages of before you close. So you need to be aware of each of those stages. I'm just going to skip to a slide here. So, on your way to payday, so making it happen. So know the process. The systems equal success. So you have, the more you are prepared, the more you have down on your checklist, the more prepared you are to move forward, the easier it'll be, the less nervous you will be also, because it is a nerve-wracking time. And I'm sure at this stage you probably calculated a few times what your commission is going to be. You have that as a side note, right? Let's skip that slide here. So contract to close. So here's an overview. I'm not sure why. Okay, we can move over here. Here's an overview again, which you know already of the whole offer process. So we have an offer. It starts at the offer stage. Again, that's the beginning where it, as I said, put your best foot forward, take the time, get in a quiet spot, do it properly, be thorough. If you have any questions about it, like what does this mean, review it, or even ask another agent in your office. You can certainly call me at any point in time and ask me any questions you want. I'll give you my cards at the end. At any time you can ask me, give me a call and just throw questions at me. So after the offer stage, you don't want to go to the left where it gets rejected. So we're hoping it will go to acceptance. So you'll probably come down from the offer into possibly a counter offer situation. The market as it is right now is so strong and competitive. Sometimes we don't see an offer presentation. There's bully offers and they're just getting accepted immediately because they're $200,000-300,000 over asking. But then there's a lot of opportunity also where there's counter offers. And a counter can be on many different things. It can be on your price, usually it is, but it's the return of the offer, which is a sign back. It can be on closing date. You know, your closing date that you've put is not acceptable to the seller, so they're returning it to you with a different closing date that's more acceptable. So hopefully after the counter offer, you settle the dates, the price is all good, you get an acceptance of your offer. Sometimes, again, in this market, it's really strong. There may be conditions. Sometimes now, you know, a lot of times there's no conditions in offers, which can be a bit scary with, you know, no home inspection sometimes is very typical now. Not having financing, I think, is something that is okay to happen because you should be working with buyers that are pre-approved anyway, that are capable of getting a mortgage. So, you know, you're not going to work with unqualified people. So waiving the finance is okay. Home inspection, you know, what I do, you know, in times of viewing the property, a lot of times the agent will have a home inspection available. You go through that thoroughly with them. You're not expected to know everything about properties, but it's great to sit down with your client, go through that home inspection. If you have questions, say, you know what, I don't know, but I'm going to find out for you.
You can also do a walkthrough with your client with that same.
Sure.
You could do
If
it when
you're going to,
really nervous or unsure
yeah.
or whatever.
Or you're going to do the walkthrough, you're walking through and you're looking at, say the seller may have a home inspection on the property already, a booklet to go through. So it's going to show all the deficiencies and everything that's great about the property. A lot of times your client is looking to you for that information, like, okay, well, what does this mean? Well, you know, the furnace is 12 years old, is that a problem, or is it not? And sometimes it is, it maybe have a 15-year lifespan. But there's things that you may not know, is what I'm saying, that it's okay, find out. Say, you know what, I'll find out for you. I find your clients will have more respect for you. If you go away, get the information and bring it back. You're not expected to know everything. I don't know everything, and I've been in the business 16. I'm still getting things that I scratch my head on. So research and dig in and try and find out for your client within that time period. If the house does not have a home inspection, maybe you have an opportunity, a window within that offer date time to get an inspector in. So, you know, work with your buyer and say, look, I have 3 good home inspectors that I think we can get an inspection done before we put in an offer. Are you open to that? And see which one you can schedule immediately. Maybe you can get a home inspection in there the next day or in 24 hours. So that can happen. So you did get the inspection in. So when it comes to writing the offer, it's a clean offer. There's no financing because you know already they're approved or pre-approved for that amount. And now we know the home inspection is good by what the standards that you're looking for. And so it's a clean offer. You just go in with your purchase price and your date, which gives you more chance to get your offer accepted. There are tricky conditions too. There's conditions that come up that, you know, are unexpected. That in this market though, I think it's less likely. Back when I first started, there were many different other scenarios and conditions that would come up. You know, we were seeing at that point condition upon sale of my property, right? So someone would want to sell theirs first. Well, that would be ideal in this market too, but it doesn't happen. No way. Yeah.
Have you ever done one before?
Done what? The
Selling purchase of property?
selling the purchaser's property?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just not selling purchase property.
Oh, no, I have not. No.
I think I've done 2.
Have you
Yeah.
recently?
No, 30, last one was probably like 20 years ago.
Right, exactly,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and it was common. It was
Well, it
common.
wasn't that, even when I got into business,
It wasn't that common,
yeah.
but it was,
In the
okay.
country, it was really common.
But it would get accepted. The sellers would say, okay,
Oh, yeah.
how much time do you need?
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
give me 30 days
Yeah.
and,
Escape clause, bingo.
right. Yeah, exactly. So, not anymore. Now we have conditions of, well, it's not really a condition, but I guess a big concern right now with our market the way it is the home getting appraised, you know, for the price. And I still see now condition upon appraisal. I've seen that depending on the property, you know. Again, sellers now and agents don't want to see any conditions. So it's kind of scary, but also more reason for you to do your due diligence and really sit down and think about what you're doing, have your checklist, present your offer correctly, and really prepare it well, and get advice from your associates. I love Keller Williams for that. This is one of the reasons I switched from Royal LePage. It's an open door concept. We're all willing to help and share information. It's been done before. Let's help each other succeed. I love that. Royal LePage was very close door. You know, you ask an elderly agent, a senior agent, some advice, and you know they slam the door in your face. Like,
Remax too.
go ask.
Remax.
Oh, Remax.
Yeah.
Chestnut Park,
It's
J&D.
I don't get it. You know, I believe in the circle of life. You give, you get, and that's my philosophy, and I think it's the way we should be. So I like the philosophy of Keller Williams with that. So conditions. So when you finally get your conditions waived, okay. So these are important dates and important, extremely important times to remember, which will go down on your checklist. And we'll get to another slide that will go through it a little more clearly to remove conditions. An important part of this process that I jump into immediately is being in touch with the mortgage lender, my client's mortgage broker, and the lawyer. So I know who their lawyer is to begin with, and I know the bank they're dealing with. As soon as my offer is accepted, I'll get that offer over to the bank, the lender, immediately. and also over to the lawyer. Sometimes a little too soon, like the lawyer will call me, well, what is this? What are you sending this to me for? And then, yeah, you know, I'll explain to them. I'd rather them have it. I like to be prepared because things start to get very busy before you know it, and you start getting, you know, you start dealing with maybe another client and you have this offer going through and you're not sure in what stage the process is at. So you really need to be on top of it. So for me, I send it over immediately and make sure they have that information. I also always keep my clients in the loop, and they love knowing that. Many times, you know, buyers have said to me, wow, this is so easy, I can't believe how you do everything. So you'll send it to the lawyer, they think that, okay, I have to go to the bank and rush this offer over to the lawyer or the bank manager. They don't. You send it, we scan email, we have a discussion. Take care of all that stuff for your client. You end up looking really good in the end, and obviously it's a part of our job to do that. Yeah, so conditions, they're fulfilled, they go to the lawyer now. The lawyer has the contract say. The banks know, we know already the pre-approval, so the bank is good with what we have. The bank's gonna send an appraiser in. Obviously, this is the time to again, be on top of it. You have to be there for showings or to allow the appraiser in. Another important point with that, I was going to say also, even with home inspections and if you're working with the seller, usually the buyer has to be on the property if you're doing a home inspection. Definitely, they have to be there with their client for the 2-3 hours that it's being done. I like to be there myself. Sometimes even if I leave afterwards, but I go for the first hour, let them in, introduce myself to the agent. You know, start discussing. If you could stay the whole time, obviously that's even better. Stay, if anything arises, you're right there to discuss it. You know, the home inspector finds something hidden in the attic. And,
so you're saying as the listing agent, you like to be there when the home inspection is being conducted?
Yes, yes. It's not always necessary, I'm saying, and if you don't
If you're the listing agent?
So I want to know everything.
Always stay.
I
never leave.
A lot of people don't, and it's not, you don't have to be.
No, I know you don't.
The
But
buyer agent certainly does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a Fred rule. But sometimes because the inspector really isn't supposed to give you any information. 'Cause-
No, he's working for the client.
Yeah,
Yo, I know.
yeah.
He's not supposed to, but at least you're on the property.
Yeah,
have
I
been
know,
on the
because
property,
sometimes you
but-
gotta phone the owner and say, where's the hatch to the,
Yes.
There's
or
that.
what's that?
Or the
hole there?
problem,
Yeah.
there is an
Where's the
issue
shut
that
off?
there's
There
now
could be a
a water
concern and
leak.
you want to head it off at the pass.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's damage, there's
Yeah.
something he's
Yeah.
found,
Yeah.
and this is a huge red flag for you right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I prefer to be there than get a phone call in the middle of a meeting saying,
Yeah.
Houston, we have a problem.
That's my
there's a-"
main reason
Yeah.
for being.
Yeah, ideally it's better.
Ideally.
Yeah.
You know, it takes some time out of your day. I mean, if you're not busy, you don't have to be, but I'm just, I have,
You can be your cold calls there.
I was gonna say, but
That's right.
generally a home inspection, they say 2 hours, but I find that often it only takes an hour and a half.
Oh, it depends who you got. I
Yeah.
had mine
It
that was
does.
5
Yeah.
hours. I just wanted to drain my
Oh,
wrist
well,
like that.
yeah.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
So it depends, and I can tell you who
But I
not
think
to
2
go.
hours is
Majestic.
max, I can't see what
Who
should
not to
be more.
work?
Majestic.
But you're going to remember a lot more if you're on the premises with the inspector
Oh,
than
yeah.
just reading the report.
Absolutely.
So if you're doing an open house and there's agents coming in firing questions at you,
Yeah.
you should know the answers to.
And it's
Well, the
Right.
difference is
Yeah. Right.
let me just clarify this.
yes.
You're the listing agent. Are you saying you're there because you've hired the home inspector to do it, or you're there because
Because
the
you're
buyer?
you're working with the seller.
Yeah.
I'm there with
You're
the
working with the seller.
Whether we're paying for it or whether the client is.
So you're there,
paying for it.
like you, when you have the pre-listing inspection, you're there.
Yeah.
If a buyer does another inspection,
I'm
you're
there
there
too.
again.
Yeah, but. if-
I would
if-
No,
not
no,
be.
no, I'm not there.
No, I would
No,
not be.
If it's not my buyer, if I'm the
If they
listing
book a-
agent.
Well, that's what I meant, isn't that what you were talking
Yeah,
about? If it's
she's
not
saying-
your buyer,
It's not, no, I'm the listing agent.
it's not your
So you're-
buyer.
you're
It's not my
there.
buyer.
I go, if it's my listing,
Right.
Yes,
and whether my seller or I book the inspector,
It doesn't
I'm
matter.
there.
okay,
So
yes.
either way.
If
Yeah.
I'm the listing agent and
A buyer.
another buyer, who's not my buyer,
Yeah,
Right.
books an inspection, I'm not
Oh,
gonna be there.
she's
right.
there.
I'm saying
That's
I
the
right.
agent's responsibility. responsibility of
Yeah.
representing the buyer, not mine.
That's
Agreed.
what I was questioning.
Agreed, it is the
Other
agent.
than you're opening the door and saying.
Well, the agent
That's
has to
right.
be there.
Certainly if it's my buyer, dual agency, I'm
Yeah.
definitely there.
Yeah.
But I'm saying also,
It's your listing.
it's
you're
my
there.
listing, sure, the inspector's not working on my behalf, he's working for his client, but I'm on the property. I'm representing my seller.
Right.
The seller, you just look better in the seller's eyes. Yes, I was there for the inspection, and you know, you can fill them through.
I think I would feel uncomfortable if I'm
Yeah.
with my buyer and my inspector and the agent's hanging around. I would probably
Yeah.
say within the
Right.
first 10 minutes, thank you for opening the door.
Yes.
This is our time to walk through the home
Mhm.
and talk openly.
Yeah, I would not
Would
stick
you
around.
please,
Oh, no.
please?
Don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean that you have to trail them around. You could go
Yeah.
do your cold calls, as David said, you can go be in your car.
I'm
you can
just,
be
I'm
anywhere.
telling you from my point of view,
Sure.
I would have the, if
This
there's
is-
not a
Yeah.
pre-list, then
Yeah.
you're out,
Oh, I
because
would
we're
be
paying
No, you
for
want
it.
that private time
Yeah.
with your client, and that, to speak
I
openly,
agree.
and that's
Yeah.
fine. And that's,
Yeah.
and as I was saying, you don't have to, for me, it's not that I want to listen to what they're saying, or.
Yeah.
I went in one time with a buyer, my own buyer, to do an inspection, and the owner was there. And then she started following us around. I said, listen, I said,
I sent,
we need some space here to talk about things. So if we have a question, we'll come and ask you, but if you don't mind, give us some privacy so we can go through the
Yeah.
house and do our
Yeah.
thing. And she did.
Mhm.
I said it nicely, and she
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
You know, she left,
Mhm.
Yeah.
so.
Some of them don't understand the process.
Yeah.
Or maybe they want to be helpful too, they're thinking.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
think they're being helpful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you thank them, you thank
particularly
them
if there's
first.
a tremendous amount of pride in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly.
you thank them first for their help and.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But it is a good point, particularly in some quirky houses and that, it is a good point to be there and just say, you know, I'm here for the first 10 or 15 minutes, I'll open the door, make sure
Mhm.
everything's okay for you,
Right.
and then, you know,
Step back.
here's my number, call me if you
Right.
can't, you need
Or
help.
not far away, or.
Yeah, but I don't wanna be in the house,
No,
I don't wanna put people.
Yeah.
But-
Personal choice, you don't have to be in the house, you can be in your car, outside, you can be wherever, I'm just saying, it's, again, you don't have to be there, it's up to you, to do that. So let's move on to these, where are we now? Okay, so, the steps, for the contract to close process, which a lot of you are familiar with already. Who feels to read? Let's make it interactive. How about I get someone to read the first two, offer and then counter offer?
Read it.
Great, thank you. Okay,
Contract proposal from the buyer received by the seller through their sales representative, extending terms which, if agreed, form the basis for a sales contract. Acceptance. Seller and buyer accept all proposed and counter-proposed terms and conditions and are ready to sign the contract and move forward to sale completion.
excellent. All right, which is a counter offer. So then we have rejection and inspection. Anyone like to read that?
Rejection, seller decides not to pursue the offer further, or buyer rejects the seller's counter, ending the negotiations. Inspection, buyer conducts all required or desired inspections, physical, environmental, etc., and receives a report if a professional inspector is used.
Great. Has anyone had a rejected offer? Experienced that, where offer's
Sure.
been rejected and?
Because
We all
of
have?
inspection?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and were there any remedies? Did you try to remedy that, or?
My first offer ever submitted in my real estate career, we ended up, there was a crack in the foundation, and it was obvious. And the inspector, who then went on to say, well, there could be an oil tank in the backyard, there could be dead bodies, I don't know, I can't tell you that. But I'm thinking,
Nice.
great. So then we had yet another inspection for them to inspect. Engineers came out to look at the foundation to see if it was problematic. The deal died. I mean, the dead bodies, the oil tank, the crack. I just thought, are you kidding me? And my
Right.
first attempt at a deal,
Yeah,
I think I was like a deer in headlights. I was with the seller going,
yeah, that's right, yeah.
so.
He
Yeah,
thought it
there's
was
a lot
funny.
A lot of.
I wonder if he did think it was humor and we were just so
He was
Like-
trying to lighten it up probably, but it didn't work.
That's right, yeah.
No.
Yeah, you have to be
Backfired.
careful what you say and cracking jokes and the way, you know,
Yeah.
you conduct yourself and you think it's funny or something silly you say. It sticks in someone else's mind. They're thinking something else, like, why would they mention that?
Well, it's the biggest purchase of many, it was first time
Exactly.
buyers, so it was the biggest purchase of their life. So,
Mhm.
you know, there's such a great deal of insecurity and unsure and everything.
That's
That
right.
a comment like that, it's like we hear all the bad, we don't hear, it's a great house, it's been, you know,
That's
it's
right.
been standing here for 55 years, the crack, you know,
Yeah, it can
So-
throw you right off.
yeah.
Yeah, caution with that. Okay, so inspection reply, who would like to read that?
I'll say it.
Okay.
Buyer's document itemizing desired improvements or repairs resulting from observations or tests performed during the inspection. Inspection reply, acceptance or rejection. Seller determines the response to the inspection reply and amends contract terms to reflect what they are or are not willing to do, or not willing to do to comply with the buyer's request. This process of further negotiation of the contract continues until it is either totally resolved or until the contract is rejected by either party.
Right. Does anyone have any stories in relation to that, inspection reply and acceptance or rejection?
I had a really good one about maybe 15, 20 years ago down in south of Etobicoke, south of Lakeshore in Long Branch. It was an old cottage, and over time had been raised and put a basement in it. But the basement was through a trap door in the kitchen, but outside they had the stairs,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
But it was really low, and they had cement floor and everything. And it was in the spring, and when the inspector did the inspection, in the roof, there was one of the rafters was broken, had a crack in it. In the basement, there was water in the basement. Like,
Oh,
because the cement absorbs water, so
Yeah.
it came right through, there were puddles. And then he said, well, look, you're south of Lakeshore, there's all kinds of underground streams and everything here, that's the way it is. So you gotta realize, you're 20 stories up in the basement,
Right.
mounted up on, high off the floor. And then for the joist, he said, yeah, you put another one beside it and screw it in, that won't cost that much. So the guy had really good bedside manner,
Mhm.
and the buyers could have bought the house. And
And they resolved the issue. Did you
Yeah.
have to extend the condition
no,
time or
no,
period? It
no,
was-
just did an amendment on the price there, $1,000 or something, and,
Okay.
And I've had small issues like that too, like I remember with condo where there was problems with the shower, the controls weren't working,
Yeah.
needed to be replaced before the close.
Yeah,
So, we just wrote that into the offer.
that's
I
right.
had one too with Kitech Plumbing
Mhm.
at 5233 Dundas, a condo that I sold. We discovered it was Kitech, and so we gave them a price abatement on that to fix
Right.
it.
Exactly.
And it cost about $5,000 to do
Wow.
the repair, like to
Wow.
change the piping in the
Yep.
kitchen.
Yeah.
So we gave the buyer an extra
What
$5,000.
address is that?
5233
And
and
5229.
5229.
I think it's fixed now.
It is.
Yeah.
It's fixed now. This was a couple of years
The
ago.
5233, they actually cracked.
Where is this?
Yeah,
main
I-
down-
6
Scout.
points.
Main
So it's a
Scout.
tried-out
They
building.
tried building.
And there's also 15 Viking Lane
Oh,
right
yeah.
behind it.
Yeah, but those aren't, those are.
And those are
15
okay.
doesn't have it.
Yeah, they're all, they're built after.
What is
15
the
by
time for, what are the
15's the
years that
newest.
they?
2000,
15's fine.
up to
207.
2005. up to-
207, 2000 to
And-
2007.
And here, the other thing is I've done a holdback. So we have, it was with a condo. There sounded like, when you go through the status certificate, it looked like there was going to be an issue. And then we did like a $5,000 holdback. And
Right.
it goes into the interest account of
Right.
the lawyers.
Right.
Lawyers don't want to necessarily do it because it's time and money to set it up.
Mhm.
But rather than do a rebate, you wanted to, we
Mhm.
did a
Yeah,
holdback.
that's a good way.
And that's another way to do it.
Yeah.
for sure.
So now you do it at swimming pools in the winter.
Right. Well, there's different ways to do it, as
Yeah.
you know, consult with a lawyer also, with their lawyer.
It-
Actually, that's a good one for the pool. You can do your
All
buying
All lawyers,
place.
don't- most
Do a
lawyers
holdback.
don't want to
They
do
don't want to do
that.
that, yeah.
You can't
Hold
check
back.
to see if
So-
the
Yeah,
pool
exactly.
equipment works
Yeah.
How much do
properly.
you hold back though for a pool?
Maybe $5,000.
Yeah, 5,000.
Yeah, because that's a good.
It's a good
that's
point, very good
Like
point.
everybody understands that.
Huh?
Everybody understands that.
And the thing is, too, probably a lot of them willing to do it because it's often hard to sell property.
Not in this market.
Yeah.
Well, no, not
That's
this
right,
market,
that's
you're right, but it has been.
Yeah.
I was saying, if you've got a dog of a property, get it on the market now, because
It's gotta sell,
and
that's
sell
right.
for ridiculous
That's right.
dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, even with the
Because in
deficiencies.
6 months, it'll be worth even more.
Possibly. Sometimes you don't even have to fix the deficiencies. It's just like, yeah, we'll take it.
Now, yeah.
Broken,
We're
whatever.
seeing a lot of
Yeah.
properties coming up as is.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
There's one there just, wood.
You have to also be careful with that in the listing also. You know, remember the listing, the MLS listing is going to the banks, it's going to the lenders. They read carefully what's the description in there. They see being sold as is. They become cautious, they may red flag it.
Weren't we told don't put as is?
Yeah.
Well, it
We
doesn't
were-
exonerate.
But I was told,
Yeah, but you
I
may
remember
see it
roll of
with-
page that said put as is, because it exonerates you from any
Yeah.
It doesn't,
problem.
But it
But it
I
doesn't.
think that's just, I think if you just list it,
people
I
can
think in this climate today, people aren't gonna say, oh, fix the stove,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
could you put, a screen on the window? Like, they're not gonna say stuff like that anymore, like they would have maybe 5
there's
years
no reason to
ago.
put as is in there. You can talk to the agent and say, look, if you have any concerns, do an inspection. We
Yeah.
didn't do one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then you're putting the onus back on
Right.
the.
Well,
decision
I think a
who's
lot
going
of
to
times
mark.
they're putting as is also because they know that there are deficiencies in the property. They are not going to repair anything
Right.
to do
But
with
there's
the
a
plumbing,
clause
the-
for that.
A numbered clause you're referring to in the offer, or?
I know, well, there could be, I just don't know if the offer's that well, but there's the stuff where, when you're selling an investment property.
Yeah,
And you can say seller does not warrant it.
Or retrofit status.
Well, not so much that, but the appliances, because he didn't live or she didn't live in there, so seller
Right.
doesn't warrant it
Yeah.
or whatever.
well, there is that, sure, the clauses to cover it. I find the more clauses you put in, make it more complicated, the more the seller just wants to kind of step back away from it, like, why would they say that, why are you including
I always
that
put
clause?
the appliances in
Yeah.
the chattels
work.
and.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want the furnace
That's fair
not
enough,
working.
right?
Yeah, there's a
Why
full
can't
clause on
the furnace
that.
not working?
Yeah,
It should be fixed.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So it's best to not put as is and not do an inspection? Or
That's what I
do
would
an
do.
inspection?
Seems to be that
I
that's
don't
what,
know what you-
from the discussion we had, that's what,
I'm not sure maybe if it was Philip,
Was
or
it Philip
who said
that-
that.
Philip and Irene, I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
always do a pre-list inspection.
Yeah,
Right.
just let me
And
know.
I think
But
it
who
was
was it?
Candace that came out,
It was
and
Candace.
we had a little discussion, Candace,
it was Candace.
because she's with Mike Clark. Mike Clark says don't do it, and she says do it. But
Right.
depending on the findings, they may not always disclose. They-
Right.
But once you've done it and you know.
Like, so
what's
what
there.
Candace
But it's
was
not her
saying,
that
if
pays
you put
for it,
it
it's the
as
client.
is where is,
Uh-huh.
that does not exonerate you if the roof leaks,
Mm.
like a week after, and the seller obviously knew it was leaking because.
Oh, no,
Right.
of
Or
course.
even 2 or 3 months, she said even 6 months later.
Yeah,
If
Many
there's,
years later,
right,
they
yeah,
were
many
saying.
years later,
can't
she
get
had
out of
said.
that. If the seller
Yeah.
knows these deficiencies,
Right,
that's
she said, so
illegal.
that's why whereas as is doesn't exonerate you.
No,
So
not
it's better
from,
just to do an inspection.
not from that situation. I mean, this is where the SPIS comes in also, the seller property information statement.
But no one does it
No one
because it
does
opens the door for lawsuits.
Yeah, it does, and I don't do it either.
Nobody does.
Yeah,
Well, some boards it's required,
Is it?
yeah.
But not in Toronto.
not in Toronto.
For me, it depends on the property. I mean, I sold a property here in Wallace, Emerson. It was a rooming house with 5 tenants in it. Basically, the owner, they were slumlords. I mean, the tenants, it's a rooming house. They paid like $400, $500 for each room. God bless them, elderly people, which I'm trying to find homes for. The property it's a tear down. It's a tear down. It's a gutter. I don't even know. These people were living with no kitchens and no water. It's just horrid. When I listed it, I put, properties being sold as is where it is. And they have to do their due diligence. You do your due diligence. There was no offer date. Come in with your inspector, bring your engineer. You will find a lot of deficiencies. Everything you need from A to Z. So, and that's where my blanket of as is where it is, and I said that. So, yeah, the buyer, I brought in a buyer also, and he came in, he says, Deb, you know what, I love this house, it's perfect. I'm gonna gut it, I'm making, it's gonna be my family home, my retirement house, basement apartment, he's got plans. He brought in his engineer, a home inspector within that week. He says, I don't even care what's wrong with the plumbing
Well,
upstairs.
that's it. I think most
So-
people that bought a house, whereas as is, if it
Yeah.
says in the listing, that
So
they,
it all
in their
depends.
head, they know they're buying whatever.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, don't use it as an escape. Always do your due diligence, do a pre-inspection, do a home inspection if you can. I just use it as a backup. Also, I did say there's deficiencies. Now, you as a buying agent, you need to follow through with your end of.
Have you guys ever bought a power sale
No.
No.
Power of sale,
from a bank?
no, I sold one
I've
from
sold
the
them,
bank,
but I
yeah.
never bought them.
I never bought them.
Because the clauses the banks give, they're like
Ridiculous.
crazy.
They're
Like,
ridiculous.
if the house burns down, you still gotta close.
Yeah,
Wow.
Really?
Like
But
normally,
they can can't they back out right up until the day it closes because they can
they
make
can,
good on
redeem,
it?
they can redeem, yeah, usually when they sell it, they already taken possession, and they can't redeem anymore.
Right. You mean they've relinquished their right to the
Yeah,
house,
yeah,
right?
yeah. But right at the closing,
If the house burns down, they still have, the people who
you
bought
gotta,
it
you
stop
gotta
to
close, yeah. That's what it says, their stupid schedules, they're really crazy.
Wow.
yeah, and they have a lot of them. It's like
Yeah,
this
yeah.
thick.
Yeah,
Are you?
Read the fine
Yeah.
print, and usually you, it's like 120-day closing or something too, or not that
Well,
long, but
but it's,
lengthier.
yeah,
It has to go back to the banks,
yeah,
and
yeah,
someone else has
yeah,
to
no,
look at the whole thing.
the irrevocable is sometimes 2 weeks or something.
Yeah,
While they do their
just the
due diligence.
irrevocable.
Well, while they look at other offers and everything else.
Oh, I see, yeah.
It's just the bank's gotta clear everything through their people.
So moving along, we have now acceptance, loan underwriting and funding. Any takers to read?
The loan underwritten and funded, while the buyer and their sales representatives have led responsibility here, the listing sales representatives also have a responsibility to the seller to assure that the buyer's loan is progressing with all due haste, and that it will fund for day of completion in a timely manner.
Mhm. So, I think in this market also, it's important to know, even though you may be the listing agent, we're getting offers on our property, we're getting buyers, agents representing their buyers. Do we really know, do they really know, are they pre-qualified? Can they afford to buy this property? They're going in over ask price like crazy. Where do you stand? It's still risky because it's a client agent confidentiality with the buying agent. I like to discuss that with the buyer, and that may be just a question at the offer table too, like, is your buyer pre-qualified? You know, how much is he qualified for? How much of a down payment is he putting down? You kind of get a sense of, okay, is it going through CMHC? Is it, you know, does he have extra funds coming from family members? Little information that could be a red flag or could be good information to know that this will follow through to close. You don't really have a handle on it unless you are saying, hey, I'd like to speak to your buyer's banker or their lender and get that information, but that doesn't happen, right? So you're kind of relying on the agent to ask them, and you should ask them some questions, you know, drill them a bit on their client. You know, how long has he been looking? First time buyer? What are they putting down? What bank are they dealing with? You know, they're pre-approved, and for how long? At what stage of your pre-approval? When they get that pre-approval, it's within 90, maybe 120 days with some lenders. You never know, right? Maybe that their buyer went out and bought a car and bought something else, and they're no longer able to get credit. You know, we can't handle all these areas of it's outside of our realm, but you should definitely be asking relevant, important questions like that to the other agent, right? Of course, you're gonna ask that with your own buyer, and you're gonna follow through and make sure that they are pre-approved and give them the spiel of don't go changing your credit, don't apply for credit cards, don't buy a new car, don't go to Las Vegas and blow your money, unless it's family reunion. Was anyone there, by the way, family reunion? Did anyone go? No? It was
I thought
great.
you went.
I did.
Yeah.
I did, yeah.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was so
Yeah.
good. I encourage anyone, this is my first time going. I've done Bold, but going to family reunion was incredible. I really am gonna go every year from now on.
Why was that? What's so incredible about it?
So much great information that it's actually overwhelming. So I went there with a game plan, because my intention is, to maybe start a team. I wanted to learn more about listings and pre-listing packages, systems, putting systems in place. Because there's a booklet like this, of course, is the panels and breakout sessions, and they're fantastic. We're talking mega agents who've done this 10 times over, making millions of dollars. They know exactly what they're doing. So you're learning from the best. So for me, it was great. So I knew what courses, what I wanted to listen to. I planned strategically, my takeaways, and made my notes. And now coming back, I'm going to try and implement them. So just a great learning experience.
How many sessions do you think you went to during that whole time?
Oh, well, in a day, every day was different. It was Monday to Thursday, so
Oh, I thought it was Wednesday, Wednesday to Friday.
no, Monday to Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Thursday was the last breakfast.
So it's really 3 days of courses
3 days.
and then wrap up with the
Wrap up
inspiration
at
break.
that's
yeah,
good.
the inspiration breakfast on
Right.
Thursday.
Right, okay.
So, but with it, I tried to do four on Monday, 4 on Tuesday. I got in late Monday morning, so I did 3, and then 4 on Tuesday, 4 on Wednesday.
Okay.
You're
That's
exhausted by
plenty.
the end of it, yeah, but it's great. Awesome venue, comfortable seating. There's people they're so packed, 17,000 agents. People are just sitting all over the floors. It's like camping out. But the information that you get, and everyone's just so eager to learn, just incredible. Even the top producers that I've known from Toronto, some of them were there sitting on the ground learning from these agents that are from around the world. And a great networking opportunity too, to meet other agents and socialize. We had, drinks in a bar in the evening, and you just drop in and have drinks and just meet agents from Keller Williams. Yeah, lots of fun. I would encourage it. And Bold also, which is coming up, I think. Bold's coming up again now. I think I'll be taking that again. I took that once, and it really, if you haven't taken Bold, that's a great first step, because it gets you in the game of calling and lead generating. It really got me going, because I think all of us are bad at that, but I really have a little bit of a process now where I'm time blocking. 9 to 12 every day, 9 to 12 every day. I'm just lead gen, and it helps you to put things into a process. As you were asking and speaking to Lizanne earlier about, like when you get leads, you get so much information coming at you. You have to decipher now with this person, are they motivated or not? Am I just chitty-chatting real estate with this person? Like, where's this going?
Yeah.
You don't want to waste your time. You don't. You need to funnel them. So you need to know, are they motivated or not? I do a lot of door knocking now, which is what I'm excited about doing. Cold calling I've been doing. I called a woman, I got a woman yesterday on Maria Street, and she says, yeah, my husband and I are thinking of moving.
On which street?
Maria.
Mariah.
Mariah. I hear Maria.
Yeah.
Because they synagogues there, I think, that's Mariah.
Oh, Mariah.
Yeah, they call it really is Mariah.
Mariah?
Yeah.
But it's spelled Maria?
Yeah.
Mariah.
It's stupid.
Mariah.
It's just like Baby Point is Babby Point.
Below.
Oh, I haven't heard that one. Bobby Point.
Oh, yeah.
That's a proper.
You give yourself away in a heartbeat if you don't
Oh,
say it straight. If you
okay.
don't say it,
I'm glad you guys told me. And
Yeah, well, there's another one downtown, it's south of St. Clair. It's spelled Jack's, it's Jake's.
What?
Yeah.
It's Jackes, it's Jake's.
K-E-S.
Jackes,
Okay,
it's
there's the E in there,
Jake's.
okay.
It's
Jake's.
not Jack's, it's Jake's.
Yeah.
Important information.
Oh my
So
gosh.
do you have a process for moving people along then from the lead to, like you use
Yeah.
scripts to call them to
I
get an
use
appointment?
scripts, yeah, depending on who I'm dialing, if it's cold calling, or I like to call around just solds. I pick a script. We're full of scripts on eEdge. Just choose a script. I try not to change it too much. Some of them are very lengthy, but you want to personalize it to yourself. You don't want to sound like a robot and you're just reading from this page. So practice it a few times. I always have it in front of me, whether I stick it
Do you have a script for getting an appointment, or is there a standard one?
There's standard ones for that.
Yeah.
I manipulate it a little bit myself, depending on who I get, and if they sound motivated, I definitely try and move into doing the CMA on their property.
Yeah.
The prices of homes right now are extremely high. I don't know if you know, I'm working with a number of buyers that are really looking to move into your neighborhood, and I'm wondering if you're thinking of selling in the next little while. Maybe, yeah, me and my husband were thinking about it. You know, you go in from there and probe, it's always probing. That's the thing with scripts, you're always asking them questions. When you first start out, you start to get excited as soon as someone, you know, says to you, like, actually, yeah, I was thinking about selling. It's gone, everything's gone out the window, like, oh my God, someone said yes, what do I say now? You're skipping out, like, I don't know.
That's so
Oh,
true.
okay, can I come, wow, can I come see your house? And you're saying all the wrong things, right? Prepare to get the appointment. Go in with a mindset. You're gonna get the appointment. And you will. Try and get out of, say to yourself, I want 10 no's, and that's gonna lead me to 1 yes. You get 1 yes, fantastic. It's amazing, it really is. I disbelieve that whole cold calling for a long time. I fought it like, oh my God, I don't want cold call. That's for the old school agents. It works. It really works. You will get a lot of no's. You will. Now the key is, for me, is working that lead correctly, asking the right questions, moving that lead into now a nurture. I call them a nurture. Great, they're thinking about buying. I put them on a drip. Oh, would you mind if I send you my monthly newsletter? It's by email, great information about your neighborhood. If you don't want to be on it, you can just unsubscribe, but you know, I'd love to keep in touch with you. No, I haven't had anyone that says no to that.
Is your newsletter, you put that together,
It's through Isaac Contact.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I use their contact database, and they're great.
Yeah,
They change it up every month.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, doesn't matter.
It doesn't
You know,
matter.
don't
It's
get
about
caught up
staying
in that. Don't get caught up in that. For the first couple of years in real estate, I got caught up in a lot of those shiny objects, I call them. It happens with new agents too. You know, you see someone else's website, that website looks so great. Oh my God, that's what I want to do. I want to have a great website, and you won't go off and you spend all kinds of money doing that website. Or they have a great lead gen, drip CRM. Do your own thing. Do your own thing. Just as long as you have that in place, I think that's important. You don't have to do what that top mega agent is doing and follow exactly what they're doing, but follow the system. Lead gen for sure. Time block. Make your calls. Have a system where you're not wasting time with just chitty-chatting to people about real estate. That's not really a contact. A contact is talking, well, contact, yes, you did contact them. But your objective is to move them into an appointment. And what I find is, it's very rare that you're going to call someone and they're like, oh my God, I've been waiting for your call. Thank God. I'm so glad an agent called me. It doesn't work like that.
No.
It's going to be at least 90 days or more that you will be even seeing any business from them. So you need to put them into a drip and know that already, that, you know what, I'm going to get a nurture. That's what, keep going on my nurture, put them into a program. Call them in 2 months. Hi, Mrs. So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so. We were speaking last month at Robinson with Kevin Williams. How you doing? The real estate market's amazing. It's so hot. Easy to help. You just chitty-chat about their house. Look up the scripts and maybe drop in a line. Can I come by? Are you ready for me to come by and take a look at your property? You know, you live in a great street. And make them feel good. Try and get the appointment again. Keep trying. Don't try on the first phone call. Don't push them too much. Don't oversell them.
Exactly.
No one wants a pushy salesperson. It's like going to a clothing store and, you know, someone's all over you because they want to sell you that suit. You
Well,
know,
that's
it's
what
like,
I'm
oh,
saying.
it looks so great on you. Oh my
You can
God.
just feel the resistance.
That's
So
right.
If you like, it's not the way to go.
Gone are the days of that. People will run from that.
Yeah.
So it's all about getting the lead, but, and if you feel that they are motivated enough, put them into a drip campaign. Put them into nurture, follow up, move on to the next person.
Yeah.
Just keep speed dialing, next, use the script. Just the number, that's all. You'll find that you'll get into your own groove. We're all individual agents. We all work differently. We sell ourselves differently. You can't look at the other agent that, oh, I love the way they dress, I love the way they look, I love the way they sell, or they're doing that right, I'm going to be just like them. No, you're going to be yourself. That's the only way that you will be successful, if you're authentically you and come from a place of contribution. That's what I find. You do the best for your client, you'll always be in the limelight with them, and you'll get more clients, you'll get more referrals. They'll love you for being who you are. They'll say, oh my God, that girl, Sharon, she's so friendly, she's great, she's thorough, she's, you know, and they'll refer their best friend to you, you know. So don't make that mistake. Anyway, we're off on a tangent there. Okay, so carrying on. Let's see what we have here. So I have a few more. Where did we end up? Inspection, reply, acceptance, or rejection. Did we pass that? Okay, loan underwriting and funded. I'll just read that. While the buyer and their sales representative have lead responsibility here, the listing sales representative also has a responsibility to the seller to assure that the buyer's loan is, oh, did we read that?
Yeah, Carolyn wrote it.
All right. Recordation and possession. The transaction becomes part of the records of the local government entity with jurisdiction, and the transaction is complete. The buyer takes possession of the property that the seller has vacated, unless a seller carryover or buyer pre-occupancy has been part of the contract. Well, you already see that this day and age also a seller carryover, but so that's the end of that. Systems equal to success, what do we have here? So we spoke about the checklist, working your way from accepted sales contracts to the day of completion that rewards everyone requires that you follow a great checklist. So obviously you need a buyer sales representative checklist, close to contract checklist, and then you have the listing sales representative contract to close checklist. Let's just see what we have here. Take Mike has put together for us. Great, this is actually a little in-class assignment, I think. We all do together. Yeah. So these are all stages of the buyer representative contract to close. We don't have to go through all of them, but basically submit an offer, financing and condition. That starts at the very home buying process. Deliver deposit money to the listing sales representative. Well, it's to the brokerage office, not to the sales representative. Although I guess you can give it to the sales rep, but it comes to the it goes to the brokerage, the listing brokerage office within 24 hours of offer. Has anyone ever had that the deposit delivered after 24 hours, like delayed, like a
Yes.
day, 2 days?
Yeah.
Kind of a little scary, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's like, okay, you're on top of the agent.
Where's
Where's the
Yeah.
funds? Yeah. What was your experience with that?
Well, I stupidly, not knowing, e-transfers, and I'm all excited and doing that. Oh yeah, just e-transfer it. 5 days later.
Oh.
So I learned, don't ever suggest that.
Yeah, no.
So that was stressful,
Right,
but, yeah.
You
It
can
happens.
transfer into.
Person to person, you can do an e-transfer and it's
That's right.
instantaneous. And of
Not
course,
person to business.
this was
Yeah.
a year and a half ago, and so I call, e-transferred, well, somehow it gets held up for 5 days.
Oh, that's
Oh,
good to
yeah.
know.
Yeah, so don't ever suggest
No.
it, don't.
No. And it should be certified. It should be, well, e-transfer, the money is there, but that's not something I would suggest. But certified
Maybe
check,
wiring it maybe would be better.
that happens once in a while, but yeah,
Directly.
whichever way, certified check, or I find just deliver it. Just get the listing agent or the selling agent to deliver it to the
Well,
office,
sometimes
right?
it's not easy, you can't get a certified check within 24
No,
hours
you
because
can't.
you do a deal on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And the banks, like unless they're a
Yeah.
TD,
That's right.
I don't know what other banks, but I'm
That's
sure there's
right.
others. They
Which
can't
is
get
why
a certified
sometimes it's
check.
quicker to wire it. You can wire it,
Yeah.
the
But
bank can wire it.
you still have to, if you can go into the bank to organize a wire, you can get a certified check. So, but the other thing that I've run
Go back
into,
up.
and impacted me as well years ago when I was buying, is if they have their money in, it used to be Ing, but now it's
Yeah,
Tangerine or
BC.
Rally or
Takes a couple
That's
days.
right.
so you always have to have those conversations up front about, well, if you're representing the buyer, do you have access to your funds can you get a certified check?
How do
Yeah.
you feel as a listing agent if I present an offer, I'd say, okay, we'll give you $2,000 tomorrow and $10,000, whatever, next week.
I don't like it, that concept.
It's,
personally.
you know what?
Especially in this
Further
market and a competing market. I lost an offer, I lost out to not having my deposit check certified. which I usually do, I try to bring,
Yeah, yeah,
even though it's a
yeah.
bit of a hassle, you're in an
Yeah.
offer,
Yeah.
bidding war,
Mhm.
5, 10 people, you think,
Yeah.
I'll give you a certified
Yeah.
check tomorrow, no biggie. Hey, it's 6 o'clock in the evening, this was at East End Remax.
Yeah,
Our offer was strong, firm, 5,000 over asking. The listing agent said, Deb, I'm so sorry, but your check is not, your client's check is not certified.
Was it Audrey?
No,
Oh.
no, it was a gentleman from Australia, I forget his name. Very nice man, very thorough.
The offer that they took, was it higher than yours?
No, it was just
Lower?
slightly lower.
So, oh, it was lower.
It was slightly lower. He didn't tell me by how much. Oh, well, he did, I saw it after. It was like 3,000 lower than mine.
Wow.
But he went with it. He said his client would
it was a done
prefer
deal.
a firm, their deposit check, I think, was like a substantial, 30,000, it was on a townhouse condo. He felt very secure, here it is, solid, I have cash in the bank. Deborah has a better offer, she is 3,000 more, but what if they come back tomorrow and they don't, the money doesn't go through, right?
Mhm.
I kind of understood it,
Yeah.
it burned me.
Because we got because we were $5,000 less. We had the certified check and the other person didn't.
Yeah,
So you got it.
that's right, so very important.
We
But
lost-
so
we lost
something
that.
so small.
So then you have to say, when does that, a $10,000 difference, like 3 to 5, but 10,000, 20?
Yeah.
Is that worth waiting?
Is
We
it worth
waited.
waiting
Well,
for?
I
I offered, my client said he couldn't believe it. He said, look, I'll even give him more than asking. I'll go over 2,000 more. Didn't want it.
I got an offer, because I was second, because the people didn't bring,
Certified.
A certified
and
check.
they called me, you just
Is it-
don't
I
want to
know.
buy it?
Do you see that?
Yeah.
But I
Important
lost,
lesson to everyone if
We-
you have a
we-
buyer, if you're
we
client.
lost.
Certify that check.
we lost in the East End a couple years ago, and we had more money, but our certified check wasn't as high as,
There's that too.
and we had like 40,000. But she never came back to us and said, can you increase it?
Yeah, well, that, exactly.
that-
I
which I
think it's
think
up
is
to the
fair.
agent now
Yeah,
to say,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what, if they see a
Because she probably had-
$40,000 check,
She
come
probably
back
had
to me
good,
and ask
she
me.
had good rapport with the other agent,
Right.
And that's,
Irene.
Ah.
I do a joke about that now.
Oh,
But I
Because
think
it turns
it
out the
does-
house wasn't good, really right for our people anyway.
but it does boil down
Yeah,
to
the rapport
rapport
is
as
so
well.
important.
Rapport, and then, I don't know, do you say, look, we only have
That's right.
2,000, here's the ink statement, here's,
Yeah.
the rest will be coming, like,
Yeah.
support, the more information you
That's
have
right.
to support it.
Exactly, which is, I'm trying to drill home. And it starts even at the beginning. If the
Yeah.
agent, the other agent knows you also, knows you to be a reputable agent, you're
Yeah.
on time,
Yes, yeah.
you know, that goes a long
Long
way.
way.
They're more inclined to tell their client, you know what, I know Deborah, I've worked with her many times,
Yeah.
she's good.
She's
Don't worry,
solid.
we'll have that check
Yeah.
tomorrow. I know that for a fact. You
Yeah.
got an in, right there.
Yeah.
You know, it's all how you present yourself, and I find it's very, although there are so many of us out there, it's a small circle in our field. You know, you may be the person that you just swore at the other day,
Yeah.
you're doing a deal with them and you really want this house,
Yeah,
they're gonna influence their client and say, you know, you're a bit of a this or that, and you may not get it.
Also is why going to agent open houses is important too, because they start seeing you and seeing
That's
your
right.
name.
It's very true, very important.
on camera.
If we can find any to go
On camera
to.
goes crazy.
Yeah, I go with them on
Yeah, look,
Thursdays.
So we're still going through the list of when, the tasks to do and when to do it. So obtaining loan approval in writing as soon as possible, of course. Negotiate repairs and treatment. After inspection, negotiate the conditions of the offer. We touched a bit on that too, whether we should repair it. And I've seen, you know, people say, okay, we'll fix that problem before it closes with a certified person of that trade, and they'll show you the receipt and say, yep, it's been done. I would want to see the paperwork on it and make sure that they did do it, and, you know, you didn't get your brother-in-law and do some patching over the work. Schedule a survey. That will be done within the deadlines of the conditions of the offer also. I think a survey takes a bit longer to do, or you could possibly, if you research, you can get a survey. Sometimes it's done already. You just need to go through. We did a course on that, the gentleman that was here doing
Yeah.
the survey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
protect your boundaries,
Yeah, protect your boundaries. So you can always maybe,
$350, if they have one.
right, excuse me.
Where, from the city?
No, from the guy, the survey people.
Yeah, from that company,
Yeah.
they'll provide.
You can
that
search it
for
for
you.
it.
Yeah. Schedule an appraisal within the deadlines of the conditions. Again, the final walkthrough with the buyer.
Can I just go back, schedule the appraisal?
Yeah.
Appraisals are often driven by the banks, not by us. So
That's
how
right.
do you have control over that?
Well, yes, you're right. The banks usually schedule that in. You don't really have control.
Because I found anything that's ever been done, did they? I think they were all done after the deal was firm.
Oh,
So the
yeah.
banks
Oh,
come
yeah.
in. So
They
to-
used,
The deal has to be firm before the
Yeah.
bank sends someone
Yeah.
else.
yeah,
But
so
you can only influence, I find, by bugging them. Keep calling the bank.
so there's, you can't really put a condition on appraising.
no,
Okay,
No.
Maybe I misunderstood.
Well, you can put the condition, but I mean, it's gonna, in this market, not
Yeah.
really, it's not gonna
that's
work.
neither.
But yeah, it's kind of out of your realm. You
Banks-
don't know exactly when they're gonna come.
Banks used to be notorious for doing it like a week before closing. I had them when we gotta do the inspection, I haven't done the appraisal yet, because they've
That's
already moved, they already moved, we don't have keys at the lawyers.
Yeah, that's right.
There
I think
was-
they're a little bit faster now.
Yeah, they are now.
They're
There's-
come within- They know the market's pretty heated.
Case right now, and it was on TV, it was a house closing in Ajax, brand new build. The banks did the appraisal like 1 or 2 days before closing, and they didn't get the documents to the lawyer wherever, or to the mortgage, so they didn't get the mortgage. And the builder said no to the buyers lost their $40,000 deposit, they're all ready to move, everything, because this went
The
right
builder
now.
kept the deposit.
Yeah, and it's right now,
Litigation.
yeah, and
Sure.
it was on like
Yeah.
TV, the guy that
Yeah.
goes around and does all those issues, I can't remember his
Hot
name.
property?
Foreign.
No.
No,
They
half
have-
foreign.
Half foreign.
Builders are
Half
brutal.
Yeah, yeah.
I've worked for builders. They will keep your deposit.
Yeah, so,
It's more negotiable probably. I can see a seller and a
Selling
buyer.
assignments, they go nuts,
Oh, yeah, assignments they'll keep,
yeah.
for sure. I have a client that missed her last payment actually just on a new build condo. This is a substantial amount, she had 20 grand, in 3 months, 90 days, and she missed it by a day. She was out of town. And the builder rescinded, there was a clause in the contract saying, no, we're taking back ownership of this property.
Did you give her money back?
You've missed your date.
Did you give her money back?
No, they were going to court. It was, get your lawyer, have your lawyer contact
That's just
us.
stinky, you know, that's
Oh,
just.
so
they're doing it because they can
It was
resell it for a
so
higher price
nasty.
today. But if the market was
That's
lower,
right.
oh, take 5 days.
It was
you know?
nasty. And then when he came back, they finally agreed, so the builder's lawyer was nasty also, with the buyer. They slapped a fine on him, an additional $2,000 for having a late payment.
So they let her, but they let her.
Yeah,
She
that's-
got it, like
that's-
sweating her brow. She took a bottle of wine to bed.
That's why,
She-
like, I don't like dealing with, taking people to new builds because of stuff like that.
They're tough. They don't know. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
other
and
thing.
that's why we tell them these stories
Yeah.
and say, it's better to buy already built.
Well, there's
because-
lots of reasons for
Because
that too, yeah.
they can change their plans and the
Yeah.
fine print.
Wall.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and Donald Trump, I think it was in Chicago when they built the tower,
Mhm.
pre-sold everything to get the financing. But he had a clause, he could buy it back before it was finished, so he bought the lot back
Ah,
and
you
the price
see,
got up.
that's right. Yeah, the
The
bills are very
president of the United
sneaky.
States.
I mean, you're gonna get a lawyer to review the contract, but sometimes lawyers are busy too. I find, the contracts, this.
Yeah, but those
they think, yeah, that's
clauses,
good,
they
it's
won't,
good.
the builder won't let you take them out.
No, they won't.
Yeah,
And
so-
sometimes the lawyer misses the clauses. The only thing I advise, definitely, if you're doing a new build, go with your client to the presentation center. Tell them they need representation.
Yeah, otherwise you're not
Don't
gonna
just
get
walk
paid.
in there. Whoever's selling them that property works for the builder.
Yeah, it's not looking after their interests.
No.
We even get paid either.
And you still can do a few things. There's, a few ways of saving your client money by going in with them also,
Capping the,
capping the builder's charges, yeah, which they don't know about. So it ends up that you're looking good. It's like, oh, you just saved me a couple grand, which is normal. Most builders do it, but certain things you can do.
and be careful of HST right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
For
it
new
just
builds,
isn't
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that's hefty, yeah.
Well, no, because it used to be always, you signed it, that you assign the HST back to them. There's a clause that says they can change their mind and make you pay the HST, and you gotta apply and get it back yourself. So at closing, you're short that money.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so moving along, final walkthrough with the buyer, I think is where we left off. So the repairs treatment complete before the day of completion. This is, always try and save that one last visit, right? You guys know that
Yeah.
just before your closing date. you know, a day or two before. Because sometimes there's surprises, right? You know, maybe the sellers moved out way back when and the whole basement's flooded. And you just go in for an inspection, it's like, oh my God.
Water pipe broke.
Yeah, not a great situation, your closing will be delayed. But not to fear, sometimes if you don't close on that date, it is a worrisome situation, but there's remedies. There's always a remedy. Try and, you know, get through the facts. How can we take care of the problem? Make sure we take care of the issue. We get an amendment on closing, that's it. So we're gonna close next week and scramble to do that. You know, don't get panicked and just, okay, the deal's out the window, oh my God, it's done. There's remedies, there's ways of correcting the problem and try and do that. Confirm that loan will fund on time or date of completion. So again, you're working with the lender to determine that date. That's if you're working with a buyer. Of course, you're always in touch with the mortgage lender, the paperwork. I bug them all the time, I mean, in a nice way, but you know, I like to be on top of stuff.
Some mortgage companies are real.
Oh, yeah.
MCAP is one. They make
Home
you drop.
trust too.
Yeah, they make you drop through hoops.
Oh, they're brutal.
Oh, yeah, home trust is a B lender, though, right?
This will be the.
Yeah, but they
Isn't
make you
it
jump,
have a B lender too?
not necessarily, but they make you jump through hoops at the last minute, you know?
Mhm.
Oh, pay off that credit card, do this, do that, you know,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
It's
Oh, yeah.
actually, it's a climate right now, and it's been going on for almost a year now.
More than a
That
year.
they just, yeah, and I guess if you're, depending on, if you're working with buyers, just have them prepared and be patient with their mortgage broker, because it's not the brokers,
Yeah.
it's the actual,
My lawyer
It's the
charges more,
underwriter
my
sometimes.
lawyer charges more if it's MCAP, because there's so much more work to do. They get, sometimes they get a big thing, of all the things they gotta do. Sometimes they wanna see the home inspection and everything.
Well, why would people use it? Well, I guess because sometimes that's.
They give a credit, they
Yeah,
give a rate,
yeah,
people
yeah.
think
Yeah.
a 0.1% is a big difference, you know?
they
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know. At that-
Does anybody know much about CMLS?
Who?
CMLS, has anybody heard of them? No.
What is CNO?
They're like a mortgage, they're
A
apparently a
brokerage?
big mortgage company, like huge, they're downtown, but,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Well, what is
Okay.
CN, what's it stand, what made
I
it?
can't remember.
CM, well, mortgage would be.
Canadian Mortgage probably, I don't know.
Lending services.
Lending services or something, but apparently, anyways, yeah, so I was just talking to my mortgage broker, and he was suggesting this. and I'm
I've
like,
never heard of them, to be
I've never
honest.
heard of them. He said they're huge.
You guys all got mortgage brokers? You know, I was gonna go.
Why?
Yeah, I was looking white.
Why?
No, that guy, Jason.
I was quite
Jason's
impressed
awesome.
with him.
We just met him, but I know,
Jason, yeah.
I know his best friend's one of our clients, as it
Oh, wow.
turns out.
Correct.
And he's from Simcoe, Ontario, so I know a lot of the people that he
Jason knows
knows.
a lot of people.
Yeah, it's funny how,
Jason Friesen?
yeah,
Yeah,
he lives like 3 blocks from
He's
here.
great, he's very informative, you know what's
Yeah,
great about
great
Jason
guy.
too, you could email him at any time.
We
and
were
he'll
talking
just
last night at
give you some
7 o'clock.
information.
Call
Like you're like,
Do you
how
use
do you
Jason?
work? Yes, I have.
And-
I have maybe 3 that I use.
Do you have 3 different ones? How do you decide, you let the,
Well, one's a relative, so
Oh.
I try to send him business, which is great. It all depends. I try to fit the client with the personality.
Right.
You know, young millennials now, they want to work with someone savvy, and you know, even with the lawyers. I have lawyers that are paperless. You know, my lawyer, Jason Gottlieb, he's just a little laptop and that's it. But he's awesome.
is that the guy down the, Jason Gotti?
Can't be
Gottlieb,
paper, but you have to-
yeah, he worked with Freed, the lawyer.
Yeah, down in,
No, Jason now moved. You probably don't know him,
oh, okay.
but there's many of them. So I just suit, I suit the client. You know.
One of the things I was impressed with Jason Friesen was he said he will give a document.
Yeah, I
He'll give
know.
the mortgage approval.
If you get the information to him the day before.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter when, but
That's
I
for
want,
CMHC.
it's just the
Wow.
whole idea is that
Yeah.
you
Give
get,
it to him in the morning, he gets it by the morning.
yeah.
He should have it approved by the
Yeah.
That
afternoon.
is incredible.
Yeah, and the
That's
difference
amazing.
too is he would give a mortgage approval, like a certificate
Yeah,
to somebody. So you get them and they say, like, I'm just dealing with someone I don't know that well from the internet and I want to get them in because I really want to sort of find
Yeah.
out. Because you can do that online, think, oh yeah, I'm gonna afford 850,000,
Yeah,
and you get out there, it's like 450, and you think, what?
yeah, that's right.
So,
That's
but
right.
that's, because the banks won't do that mortgage approval, they won't give you the document. Why can't I think of
The
the name?
pre-approval?
Thank you.
Yeah.
They won't give you a document.
I always try and steer our
Yeah.
people to a mortgage broker, because I say, the
Yeah.
bank, they say, oh, the bank did said this, I said, the bank's gonna want you to come in on a Friday afternoon, sign papers, the bank will have, oh, we can do it, but we gotta send it downtown now, you know?
You can only advise your client, because I
Yeah.
have clients too,
Yeah.
they're like, they just feel so strong in working with their banks. I've worked with TD
Yeah.
for so long, I'm gonna go to TD
Yeah.
for my mortgage.
And if they work for the bank,
Right,
if they work for the bank, really, not scare them, but advise them, the rate they're getting is a preferred rate because you're an employee, but that's taxable on
Ooh.
their income tax, for the difference between posted and what they get.
What?
And
Say that again,
That's
sir.
a taxable benefit.
Taxable benefit.
No kidding.
Yep, and from the posted rate to what they give them. And nobody ever gets the posted rate anyway.
No.
So they're better off, and if they get fired or they lose that rating, they're better off going to a different company.
yeah,
I'm just gonna
that's
ask
a good one.
One
That's
more
good.
question, I've had this
Yeah,
happen 2 or
go
3
ahead.
times. They chat, they love my mortgage broker, they chat and everything, and then when they're going to the bank to talk about,
The bank
oh, we
matches.
can match it.
Yeah.
And my mortgage broker loses the deal, and it
Yeah.
just, it
Yeah.
kills me
Yeah.
because they've done all the work in educating. So has anybody been successful in not, in sort of reducing that?
Well,
kinda do the
how
opposite.
loyal is the client, your guy, right? Because
Yeah.
that happened to me, and the guy said, I said to the mortgage broker, and then then the bank said, we'll match it, and they said, you know what, I already committed to the mortgage broker because we did all the work.
Well, the other thing you can do too is
Why didn't you give me that rate at the beginning?
I tell them to go to their bank first.
That's what I was just gonna
Right.
say. Go
That's
to your
right.
bank first, because the last man that they go to, and if they match it, it leaves a lasting impression, they're more likely to go with that,
Mhm.
I've found.
Yeah.
But you really don't have a,
Does the
a big
bank
influence.
actually do, like, do they do the credit score and do all that work?
yep,
Okay.
they do all of
They
that.
do now, yeah,
Yeah.
because they have special mortgage specialists that are mobile as well.
Yeah.
But they're only one
But a
product.
lot of the branches
Well, that's
don't
it.
have approval power, they have to send it downtown.
Yeah, that's
So
what
they
I'm
may
saying,
tell your
Yeah.
client that it's approved, but then
It's
it
gotta
still
go
has to go
downtown.
downtown.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so let's move on, there are 2 more on here I think we haven't read. We did confirm that the loan will fund on time. Finalize fulfillment of the deal. Work with the listing sales representative to finalize all the conditions of the deal, obviously. Receive and payment from the lawyers. Woo-hoo, happy days. After the day of completion and funding. So our office is great with getting your commission check out on time. I think it goes to our team leader, if everything's all firm, the paperwork's in, they'll advance you the funds right away, which is great. So that is the happy days, HST.
Have you guys had a situation where, you get a big deposit, right? But the guy, the listing, the people, they gotta buy the house in the same day. Now, Keller Williams got the big deposit, but they need that money like right away to close on their house in the afternoon.
I haven't had that situation.
I haven't
no.
had that.
And then they're sort of screwed, because they can't get the check here fast enough for them
Right,
to close.
yeah, that would be a little.
You know, ooh,
They'll take, I think, a day, 24 hours.
Yeah, but if
before
you're
they-
closing the same day, the
Yeah.
lawyer needs it the same day.
Yeah, they
It's-
will be,
It's very
they'll be-
difficult,
that's
so
fine.
be careful of that.
You gotta know that, right? You
Yeah,
gotta know that.
you gotta be
ahead
Or
of
maybe
time.
say that in advance.
Yeah.
That's a good,
Spend the day in the hotel.
No, but your
Overnight.
closing is that day.
Yeah.
You know, if the
Oh,
closing
right.
day's
Oh,
match,
right, so you need the funds.
you
to
need that
close.
funds.
Yeah,
So
so
you
you
got-
gotta arrange for some sort of
the
funding.
closing days that you're closing on the, actually, you know what, I usually encourage bridging.
Yeah, that's ideal,
Yeah.
but sometimes,
It doesn't.
for whatever, it doesn't work, and so.
Usually it does.
it has to be done ahead of time.
So big
Yeah,
deposit
you have to do it.
sometimes works
Yeah.
against you.
Yeah, now that you mention it,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just trying to think.
We had a scenario when we sold our house, the buyer sold a condo, everything happened on the same
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
And the condo didn't close, so
Right.
the buyer couldn't, it was
Yeah,
a
everything
domino
backed
yeah.
up.
That's
So we
right.
were for that weekend, we
Yeah.
were ready to move, the truck,
That's
the
right.
buyer was
Yeah,
there, the
everything,
whole
yeah.
thing fell.
Yeah.
Yeah, the elevator booked, everything.
Did
Yeah.
did it write itself, or did it fall
No,
through?
it was on Friday,
Oh.
Yeah, but
so the lawyers were like,
yeah.
see you later.
So do you
we had to wait till
June
Monday.
30th?
Yeah.
Chairman, never on a Friday.
Do you,
Well,
I
too many
avoid
votes.
Friday closings for that very reason.
Yeah,
Does
absolutely.
anybody else avoid
I
Friday?
do.
Avoid
I do
Friday
also.
closing.
And
Yeah,
Mondays, lawyers
And
are
the very
asleep.
last day of the month.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
Monday's
You
lawyers
can't,
are
whatever.
asleep.
They're asleep from the weekend, do
Do the
Tuesday,
29th.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So you get a mover.
Yeah.
Although it might be pretty easy now.
Okay, so moving on to the listing sales representative, the contract to close again, we're just gonna go through this quickly. So the task and when it happens, so you receive an offer, you're now on the listing end. You receive the offer, obviously it starts the selling process. Deliver deposit monies to the listing brokerage. When given to you by the buyer sales rep within 24 hours of the offer, we spoke about not receiving that. Sometimes agents do shady things, and I find that they may be involved in some other offer, and you have to keep on them, like, where's this, where's the deposit money?
Didn't know what those Chinese guys did. They offer 3 houses in the same night.
Right.
And if they get them all 3, then whichever one they want, they buy.
And they made them conditional financing, they did the same thing in Brampton.
No conditions.
I had-
Brampton.
Don't
Yeah,
have
but
a
they're
deposit.
okay, but they don't bring the
Yeah.
Don't
deposit.
bring the deposit.
Ah.
So, and the thing is, you can really nab yourself, the rules are deposit within 24 hours.
Mhm.
And you have to say somewhere that it's gotta be certified or whatever. But if you don't adhere to that, that's a telltale sign there's going to be more crap down the way.
Usually, it's a red flag, yeah.
Yeah, so it's, and you know, this can also blow up in your face, because if you say, oh yeah, just bring it in the morning by 9 o'clock or something,
Mhm.
well, if the deal goes south somewhere down the road, you're
Yeah.
in for negligence.
It's hard to, I mean, what can you do really if they say, I'm so sorry, there's a snowstorm, I'm out in Oakville, I promise I'll get it to you in the morning. Find solutions, maybe say, look, courier the check. We'll find a way, find out your solution. There are times though that you just can't get it here and you can't, your
Well, if
hands
they're
are
gonna
tied.
check their hands, send the picture, you know.
Yeah, or that,
As long as
exactly.
it's in your hands and not the buyer's.
Probably
Right.
the best thing if
There's
you're a
some
listing
proof.
agent is just to ask for a certified check, like right in the listing, just put it in there. and-
Yeah, but sometimes you can't do it.
Yeah, I negotiated at Christmas time, so it was just before Christmas, I negotiated, and we had 24 hours. I delivered the check to the office in Mississauga, it was closed for Christmas break.
Oh.
So I'm calling every Royal LePage everywhere, and I'm sending pictures of the sign on the door.
Oh, no,
But I was in breach of contract,
yeah,
but
Well, you
not on
are.
my own doing.
you are. but,
And I'm thinking, and you know what the market's like, is
Yeah.
this their way of getting out of the deal? I was freaking. So-
It happens all the time, it's a little bit of a scary situation, so just be on top of it as much as you can, take a picture like David said, say, hey, pay for the courier, just get it to the office,
Yeah.
get it there, because there's a lot of, agents that
What is
are
the
really
picture? You
shady.
take a pic, they send you a picture.
Well, it shows that if he has a certified check, if he sends it or sends, it shows that the
Yeah,
intent. and
Then
the
you have
agreement.
proof already.
And like
That's-
when
okay.
I had the check and I took a picture of the door and their sign saying
Right.
close and the check, and I started calling every Royal LePage,
Right,
and I
okay,
wanted
yeah.
to document
Do what you
it.
can,
and-
do,
Yeah,
make it,
Because
yeah.
you needed a record,
That's
you
right.
need a record to
Yeah,
stand
if
it
it
all
ever
over.
goes to Rico, they wanna see all your notes, they'll
Yeah.
look at your
Yeah.
picture on your phone, it's important, do what you can.
Document everything.
Document everything. Coordinate inspections. Buyer sales representative would most likely schedule the inspections, but you must maintain regular contact with them to ensure timing works for your seller. So pretty obvious there. Receive written confirmation on your loan approval as soon as possible. Negotiate repairs and treatments after inspection. Negotiate the conditions of the offer. Schedule a survey. So this is on the seller, and I know we went through this with the buyer, within deadlines of the conditions of the offer. Schedule an appraisal if necessary within the deadlines, again, conditions of the offer. Coordinate possession date. Work with the buyer's sales rep to coordinate the date. This is, of course, it's negotiable just as the price is. The closing date is very important as the price of the deal. Sometimes it can be anyway. And, if your closing date's a bit later, the seller, they may want to work out the price. They may say, well, if you're closing later, then we're going to stick to our original price. So it's kind of it's like a seesaw. One works with the other, the closing date and the price. Of course, ideally, if you give them the closing date they want and their price, hey, it's a beautiful thing. Conduct your final walkthrough again after the repairs and treatments are complete and before the day of completion. Finalize fulfillment of the deal. Work with buyer sales rep to finalize all conditions of the deal. Receive your payment from the lawyer after the day of completion and funding. And some agents they call up the lawyer, you can go pick up the check yourself and bring it to the office. After that, maybe you're anxious for your paycheck, just go get it into the hands of accounting, and faster it's here, the faster it gets processed and more for you to spend. Okay, so being a problem solver. So let's go through these things, how things can go wrong, and maybe just hear from you guys, solutions that we can find. They can be simple, maybe not, but let me hear from you. So things that go wrong. The first one, surprise findings. How would we deal with solutions? Say you go into a property and, surprise, what could we say? There could be anything.
You found water damage in the basement.
Yeah, under the carpeting, there's a hole. Who knows if there's damage. So surprise findings. Anyone can give me a remedy to if you have a surprise findings when you're close to
So
closing?
the thing I would do is I would contact the listing agent if I'm the buyer
Mhm.
and make them aware of it and get them to talk to the client and see if they're willing to fix it or if you can
Right,
negotiate a reduction because,
right.
An abatement.
an abatement.
An abatement, right. Yeah, one of the best things to do is pre-inspect to avoid surprises also. Once you're going through with them, go through thoroughly, lift up carpeting and turn on the water, fool around with all the fixtures, turn the stove on, do everything.
We had
You're
one
in there
where,
already.
we had one where when we did the building inspection, one room was all their stuff. And of course, after they closed, that was the roof that was all leaking. And we couldn't inspect that room.
Yeah.
I've seen that too.
So,
Yeah.
and we paid full price for the house.
Yeah.
We're lucky we were in competition. And then, so the, first the old lady owner, it was $800,000. Said, okay, I'll give you the money. Then she changed her mind. Then our buyer, who was a lawyer,
Mhm.
she wrote a letter, and he said, okay. Then she said, okay. And she's a retired lawyer, she worked for, no, what, the title search company.
Oh,
So, but she doesn't want to do law anymore. And then when she went to pick up the check from her lawyer, the lawyer wanted her to buy for his practice.
Oh, wow.
But she's, a lawyer's letter goes a long way to people.
oh, yeah.
A lawyer's letter.
Yeah, lawyer's letter.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it holds a lot of water.
And that's a quick question. Let's say something is found and it wasn't, the seller wasn't aware of it. Are they obliged to fix it before it closes?
If they want to sell the property, it depends. It's, me as a seller, if you ask me, depending on the problem,
Well,
maybe
if-
I am.
If
Maybe I am
the
willing to
furnace
sell
broke
it.
before it closed,
Furnace is a big ticket item.
yeah, and you gotta replace it, can't be repaired.
Well, if
Yeah.
you have clause in there that all channels are in good working order, then you have to
You're
repair it.
repairing it.
You're repairing, you're not replacing, you just have to have it
Well-
okay, up to closing. Once it closes, that's their
Yeah,
problem.
but it say there's a crack in the,
Yeah.
Foundation?
no, in the furnace, in the heat exchanger, it can't be repaired.
Mhm.
So you're buying a new one, or maybe you can get a used one.
Right.
So you tell the guy, okay, I can replace it, but I
Yeah,
feel bad about it, but.
yeah. I mean, it's always good to rely on your lawyer, get some advice on that, but it depends on the big ticket items and whether you want to sell the property and you really, hey, you could, as a seller, say, look, I'm selling it as is, and that's the way it is, and I don't want to make any adjustments for the furnace. Here's
As
a
long as
guy
you're
to
not
call.
legally bound.
As long as you're not legally bound. And if you are, then it's going to be
Yeah.
fought out in court.
What about something like a chip on a counter, kitchen counter, that you didn't really notice and then you saw it, or the buyer saw it? Now
Yeah.
it's like, was it there before? Did it just happen because they were
Yeah.
moving some stuff
Yeah,
out?
you don't know.
How do you deal with that?
That's a tricky one. Someone might be looking for an abatement for that. That's hard to repair,
Yeah.
first of all.
Yeah.
You're not gonna replace the whole counter.
Yeah.
especially
And the
if it's
thing
granite.
Yeah, and would you even be able to repair it to the buyer's satisfaction?
That's
So,
right, yeah. A lot of times in this market, again, it's so heated, a buyer may just take it, I forget it, I don't even care about it, because you run the risk now of maybe the seller, the deal not closing, and the seller saying, okay,
Oh, it's all for more.
I'll go to the next person that put that offer in.
Yeah.
It'll sell. So, it'll sell to someone.
But I mean, if the buyer said, okay, I don't want to buy it now because I didn't notice that chip.
Yeah.
So
I
the
don't
deal
think-
can actually fall through because the seller doesn't want to fix it. This is a
I
very,
think you'd have to be careful on that, because to say you're not gonna close because of a chip in a counter, let's say it's not significant, a chip in the counter,
Yeah.
and you can't confirm whether it was there.
yeah, exactly.
So no legs to stand on it. If that house sold at a lesser price, then they're responsible for the difference.
Yeah,
If
but
they
you know
walk
what?
away.
You gotta work it out. You want
Yeah.
it close,
Yeah,
you can't
okay.
get paid.
Yeah.
It just becomes messy.
No, I had that scenario actually.
Oh, you
The
did?
buyer, it was in the bathroom and there was a crack and we didn't really notice it. But we saw it and then suddenly it's like,
Right.
was that there before? I don't
Yeah.
know. Did that
Sure.
just happen? You know, could they fix it? And like, how do you fix this?
Yeah,
It's like, you have to replace the counter.
yeah.
So they went through with it anyway, but I thought, what happened if they decided, you
Yeah.
know, how would I deal with that? I wasn't really
It also
sure.
depends what stage of the contract you're in, I guess, if it's before you waive all your conditions.
And how it sets at the
No, this
counter.
one,
You
this
could
this
throw
one
that
here
in.
is a
Yeah.
In an amendment.
contract to close process. We're doing
So the
it.
contract is done, so
Yeah.
now they're just closing.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
right. So
exactly.
now
Yeah.
you're closing,
Yeah.
yeah, so you don't really have a revenue.
No.
And so when you visit a house, you have to be careful of your clause. You have to make sure your clauses say visit and not inspect. Because if it says inspect, it opens the door for interpretation. If it says visit,
Right,
your buyer visit, you're going to, their,
Ooh,
as
okay,
a
yeah,
buyer
yeah.
visit to, and even I
But
rewrote.
web forms is inspect though, I think.
Doesn't it?
Well, it's,
Yeah, it
I've
is, yeah.
been at a table
Yeah.
where they've
They-
crossed
yeah,
it
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
That's from web forms.
yeah,
They crossed it out, that you're on a
It's
buyer's
visit.
visit.
Yeah.
right.
And then
right.
there's
For
another
1 hour,
part,
For 1 hour.
and then later on, and it says, and I caught this in my own clause, I corrected that buyer's visit clause, but at the bottom it says, and to inspect for 1 hour. And
Yeah,
I
limited
thought,
to 1
to
hour.
visit 1 hour, so we
Right.
have to, but, and that wording, be careful of it, because if you're in multiples, that wording could, if it had to be changed, you could be
Yeah.
out of the running.
It's all about the wording too.
So you don't want to say buyer inspection, buyer visit.
Yeah, sometimes it even comes back to how the clauses were conditional upon the buyer's sole discretion, or sometimes it says the lawyer's sole.
Sole and
Yeah,
absolute discretion,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And that's a whole nother arguing
don't
point
agree
too,
with
okay? Yeah, so some of the clauses do say that, you have to be
Or
really
unless you
careful.
do lawyers to pre-approve. I had a lawyer who's not a real estate lawyer go through the AREA contract and came back with all the changes. So then I had to go sit with Philip. Let me tell you, I understand our contracts much better
Yeah,
now.
yeah, that's right, that's right.
But I had to go back to Philip 2 or 3 times to
Oh,
make sure I
yeah, it's
understood.
crazy. Okay, so here's, another thing going wrong with the report. You get back the inspection report and it's complex and it's really confusing. What do you do?
Call the inspector.
Yep. Talk to the inspector direct.
Yeah.
Try and discover, talk to the inspector directly. If it's something, get him to explain. Maybe ask your coworkers, your associates too. Just do your due diligence and try and find out exactly if it's confusing, what it's all about. Timetable for repairs. This is something that, you'd select and supervise the time for all your preferred repairs that needs to be done on the property, obviously. And also inspections. Something like a termite, we don't see that so much in the West End. A termite inspection, that's entirely different from a home inspection. That's another clause that you would write in. In the East End.
Or downtown.
Or downtown, yeah.
Oh, yeah, or Queen and Ossington,
Oh, wow, okay.
big there.
I know in the East End I saw
The
quite a
beach.
bit.
Oh,
There were
Riverdale.
termites everywhere.
Oh, Riverdale, for
Riverdale,
sure.
yeah, that's crazy, so,
But I
It's
actually had
another
I had a
inspector.
termite inspection on a listing I had,
yeah.
here in the West End.
Oh, really?
wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they're everywhere, they're everywhere.
That's comforting.
Yeah, but it didn't come to, it didn't.
Why did you get, what would make you?
Because the home inspector, there was evidence in the garage.
Is that like
The
gas?
trails.
Oh,
You
The
can actually
tubes,
see
the
the
tubes.
trails, yeah.
oh, oh.
You guys ever seen termite? Oh, I
Yeah,
sold a house that had active termites.
yeah, so did.
Oh, and
so did I.
yeah,
My deal fell through.
In Ogden, in Queen,
Really?
yeah.
So do you have to remove drywall to see the trails, or where is it?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, this was at Riverdale, where a deal of mine fell through and had a termite inspection clause. And the inspector found that the whole front porch was totally infested with termites. He brought me over, they were everywhere, the whole porch, which was a big job. Well,
So
Fifteen
that's,
also, if they're in the porch, you wonder where else they are.
that's right, my clients backed out of the deal, that was the end of that. No, thank you. Good
and
night.
now that we're in a time where you can't do conditions as easily, this is something that
That's right.
hopefully would be
Yeah.
disclosed?
Well,
or-
there's maps you could look at, I think it's through, is it Aetna?
Edna
Uh,
knows everything.
Aetna knows everything,
Yeah.
call them up,
Is
they're
that
good.
EDNA?
AENTA.
AENTA, Aetna?
Murphy, the Murphys.
Sorry, what is it again?
AENTA,
No,
Yeah, good.
TNA.
TNA,
Yeah,
TNA.
they're on the Danforth.
That's
Okay,
right.
say it again,
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I'm gonna.
What's his name?
Murphy.
ATENA.
No,
I can't
that's
type in these, I need
Richard.
pen and paper.
Your father,
You're showing your
dick
age
wasn't
now.
Yes, I am, I'm not, full disclosure here.
Forget it, you look
TNA.
awesome,
Yeah.
you look so young.
Actually, my husband's a contractor, so, and he's done
Yeah.
a lot of work in Riverdale and always
Yeah.
dealt with Richard. So whenever we have any
They're all
problems,
great.
anytime, we always call
Richard, yeah.
Richard's awesome.
So speak to them, call them up, ask them their opinion. There's also a map. You could go on their website, you could see a termite map where there are actual pockets of exactly
feel bad.
where termite infestation is. So immediately you're alerted to it. If you see that pocket has no termites, great.
And it's termite, I mean, it's a stupid question, but termites are wood, solely wood.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but there's other things too, there's pokes, beetles or something that eat as well.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Aetna is the people to go to anyway,
Yeah.
so they're a great resource
Yeah.
to speak to about
And you can
that.
phone them and they'll tell you if they've treated on a certain street.
Okay, another, something that can go wrong, let's see, the appraisal won't support the loan. How about that one? Anyone have any suggestions? What happens
We
then?
talked a little bit about this in the past, and it's be there. If it's your listing, be
Mhm.
there and talk about comparables and make sure, because they might know, they might throw somebody in there that
Or
isn't.
get a
and-
second appraisal or third appraisal?
Yeah.
You can ask that, you can ask their same lenders, appeal the appraise. I've seen that done, how well it
Yeah.
works. Sometimes it does, depending on the lender, but you can kind of appeal that appraisal by saying, look at all these comps, I'll show you comps, you give them examples. This house sold for this price, this is the market, it should appraise for this. They totally disagree, speak to the company, say, I would like another appraisal done, I'm appealing that appraisal due to, here are my facts, on my CNAs, on my comps. Sometimes they'll do it, they'll send another appraiser, I'm not saying it may work out, it may not, but
At the cost
that's
of the
one way
buyer,
out.
right?
Yes, yes. Otherwise, other funding, other lenders, I mean, you're now at the, hopefully that's happening at a stage where you can, where you have some time to do that. Yeah, look into additional lenders. Mortgage brokers, have your backup. You know, you should have your own resources of your go-to mortgage lenders that you'd like to use, just so I do. You know, I have maybe three different lawyers. Start networking and speaking to other people and trying to find the solution. That's what we're all about. So we're actually project managers at this point in a big way. You know, as real estate agents, I find that we wear so many hats. It's crazy. I mean, the public and the average consumer doesn't see half the work we do, but we're constantly changing hats. We're in sales, then we're in marketing, then we're doing photography, then we're doing a brochure. You know, and then you're doing client calls and customer care, and then you're selling. Now you're in the end stages. You're a project manager. You really are. You're a problem solver, and you need to resolve these problems because this is our payday. You've worked hard for it. You want to get that paycheck. You need to close this deal. And usually there are solutions. Don't get discouraged. Reach out to your associates. find a solution. Somehow, usually the buyer wants to buy and the seller wants to sell.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
It's when somebody wants to get out that the problem begins.
And you can usually find, I find I usually detect, if I'm working with a buyer that they're looking for a way out on a deal. Not so much now, maybe back like 5 years ago, but, usually buyers are serious now. They know this is a serious train you're jumping on. Once you're on that, looking for a house, you need all your ducks in order.
A few years ago, I had a seller that they wanted to back out, and they wouldn't let the appraiser in.
What?
They wouldn't let him in.
Oh
This
my
guy
God.
he was very neurotic, and he was making me neurotic too.
Well, yeah.
But
Get
eventually,
those.
like it was going through, and then the buyer needed an extension. Because
Oh,
the more they needed a day.
Oh.
Nope. And that was it.
Sure. Things happen out there, I've had a deal not closed because of a light fixture, chandelier, that was excluded in the offer. Was supposed to be excluded, okay, but it wasn't included. I represented the buyer. The seller wanted to keep that light fixture, but his listing agent didn't put it as an exclusion in the offer. So now we're going through the close. Right, and it's like, of course, but you're gonna leave that chandelier, and so I hear a little bit of it, we're like, no, that's included. It's not in the listing, we didn't see that. He fought it to the end. He fought that he wanted the light fixture, I forget how it closed now, this was in the beginning of my career, but it didn't close. But it was all over this light fixture. We got the lawyers involved, and basically he was not selling that house with the light fixture.
Did you sue?
No, we didn't sue him. He ended up, I think he ended up getting, we ended up giving him the light fixture in the end. It went on and on and on, the closing though, forever, but he ended up getting the light fixture. But again, it's a discrepancy that can come up, so you have to be so detailed on the offer.
One thing that came up with me a couple weeks ago, and we should all be aware of it, is assuming the hot water tank.
You mean that it's not a rental?
You mean a
it's
rental?
owned?
No,
Oh,
it's rented,
rented.
but there's all those crazy companies now.
Oh,
And
okay.
you're gonna assume,
You're assuming the rental?
you're not assuming for consumers gas, you're assuming from those rip-off companies.
All right, and you're paying
So-
some exorbitant.
Yeah, so be careful.
Yeah.
And maybe
That's a
if
good
you're
point.
listing a property, say, if it's a good company, say it's, it's whatever, Enbridge or whatever it is,
It
consumer
would
gas.
be helpful to say rental, amount, and the company name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
What about on the buyer side? How do you protect your?
Well,
that means
That's
that's the
his
buyer,
buyer.
you gotta ask
you
the,
got,
ask
right,
the
right,
agent, like,
yes.
who's the rental company?
Right, I never thought of that.
Yeah, I just,
And going back to the Brampton thing, which I spent 4 months looking around for clients this past summer, that's like the Wild West of real estate
What's
out
that?
there.
The Brampton? Oh, I know.
Like, there's great agents, don't get me wrong, there are great agents, but
It is a while, that's a good way
it
to
is
start.
like, there seems to be no ethical whatever, and I asked a guy about a hot water tank. Oh yeah, you take on the hot water tank, well, how much is it? Well, it's the same
Yeah.
amount as everybody, no, it's not. Well, it comes, and
I know,
it's just,
some agents are just so bad, so bad. I'm in an offer right now, $1.5 million offer I put in for a client. And I keep calling the agent, like, can you give me a status? We had a 48-hour revocable, which is today, at 6 p.m. So 2 days ago, but you would think, an agent would email you or say, hey, thanks for your offer, I received it. And I let my clients know, I knew that the client's traveling. My client's traveling, received it, I'll let you know ASAP. I have to
we're waiting
keep
for more
calling,
offers.
I keep
Yeah.
calling the guy.
Exactly.
Well, for sure, they're, playing some
Yeah,
shenanigans
yeah.
here, but it's not like a condo, a $350,000 condo. It's a $1.5 million deal, like, do you want to sell this house or not? Or maybe he wants to sell it himself.
That's
Oh,
right, that's the other thing.
so do you, when you register it and when you put it, do you also notify the office?
Yes,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's your legal
Yeah,
Yeah.
recourse.
yeah, you have
so
to.
don't you have to, right?
Well, a lot of agents just.
Yeah, you forget to do it, or,
They call direct to the agent.
yeah.
Well,
Call the office and have it registered.
if it's like a Saturday, of course I go directly through the agent, but if I'm trying to jam it through
Yeah.
and get no one else, I don't want them to buy, I don't register it.
Yeah,
I'm trying to jam it through, I have 2 hours, I don't want all the other agents to know. If he's not informing them, I'm not registering it with the
that's right,
office.
that's right,
So, I
You
mean,
can
I
play it
play
both
that
ways.
game too.
yeah.
We're not legally bound to register it.
Yeah, but, yeah, so anyway, it just goes back to being the best agent you can be also, you know, there's too many games, there's too much, I mean, we've come a long way in real estate since I joined. I mean, there's so much shady shenanigans going on back in the day. And there still is, you know, there's stuff where, you know, people are saying there was a bidding war and there's no other offer. Now we have to, you know, make sure the paperwork is there. Prior to that, you know, people were saying, no, I have another offer on the side here and it's about 10,000 more. You want to come up with yours? Meanwhile, the agent doesn't have any other offer, and it's frustrating for the buyer and for the other agents. And it gives us a bad reputation. It's like, you know, what kind of shady industry is this? You just go by verbally what someone says, you know, but again, things are changing and that's a good thing. Okay, so,
So this is American Aid, short sale relocations.
yeah, right, the short sales, yeah. So what else? Anyone want to pick on something that, what things that can go wrong? And,
I'd love to hear what a clouded title is.
Oh, cloud title, that's when there's something on title, something else is on title.
Something interrupting the title.
I'm in the middle of that.
What?
Oh, yeah.
I have a property that my clients have owned since 1995. And when they bought it, there was something on title that the lawyer or somebody didn't remove. So we've extended the closing for a number of reasons, but they had to remove the title of the guy. So it was a matrimonial home and the husband was suing the ex-wife and that was on title from the previous owners. So we had to track down the guy who was in Florida, get him to change all the documents or sign whatever, and it's registered on title. But, so I asked the lawyer, I said, is there any way that I would know this? Because I thought, shit, oops, darn, I didn't do my job, what did I miss? But it's not something we can see.
No.
Because you know what, like,
That's why we paid over, they paid.
yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
but it was like,
See, if you did the, if you bought the Geo warehouse thing, it would be on there.
And
And you paid the $35.
is that what I should have done?
The
Well,
package.
yeah, it should be there, because it shows all the registry stuff on
So $35.
Yeah.
A month or a year?
No, just
it. Just
the,
that
report.
report.
Oh, I
so
see
which
the
geo
30.
warehouse is it? Like, I'm gonna add that to, like, this is a $2 million home.
Yeah.
So to me, $35 is like,
Nothing.
well spent.
That's
But
right.
I didn't realize that. So that would show any sort of,
It shows all the liens on the house, on the property.
oh, I
Who's
didn't know
the
that.
mortgages and everything.
Do you do that when you're listing?
I don't either,
But, you
but
know,
it's a good one,
Yeah.
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 like,
And
and
they
You see,
have some really
And
good
the
reports
reason,
there, yeah,
the reason you
what
should
they-
do it, if you think there's a problem,
Yeah,
because maybe their mortgage, in this market, no, but if they're mortgaged to the hill, there may not be enough money to pay your commission.
You're right.
well, I'm just thinking $35 is
Well,
not
there's
that big of a deal. Like, if you've got the listing,
That's
it's
right.
not, it's not a
Yeah,
big deal.
yeah.
35, if we're talking about
for any,
spending $350.
for any
or-
deal,
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah.
$500,000 deal.
On another one, which I sold for 1.6, again, on title, this goes back a year and a half ago, there was an identity mistake in there or something, and somebody's traffic ticket was put on as a lien on the house, but it was for the wrong person.
Yeah.
So these are little snags that are coming up. I just sort of thought, well, how do I?
I had one time, and I was sort of lucky, I sold a property here on Dundas. And when they did the search, I guess the lawyer didn't think it was a big deal, because it was a work order from the city of Toronto. And then, I think after my guy bought it, a couple years later, he got a notice from the city of Toronto about this work order. And so I called the lawyer, oh yeah, we saw that, and we told the guy, you know, it's okay, don't worry about it. And then I called the city, building department, and it was funny, because one of my friends used to work in the building department. And I said, okay, there's work on this property, it's with so-and-so, and he says, oh, he's right beside me. So they looked it up, and what it was a store that had applied for a permit to turn the store into a pool hall. And they didn't. So that, but that permit was still there, open permit, which really meant nothing.
Right.
It's wasting the city's money to have it there, but it was just one of those things.
It needs to be
When the
closed.
lawyer, well, it does or doesn't,
Yeah.
it's never gonna affect anything. But when the lawyer searched the title, the lawyer did see it, but they realized it didn't mean anything. So,
Right.
no use chasing it to get it cleared. Because they have to get clearance letters.
If the, say the city comes, if somebody has a
10 minutes.
or a jacuzzi, and they
You gotta
come
go?
by and
Okay.
say, oh,
Yeah, we're moving on.
the
Let's stay
pool
here
should
and
be
talk
4
shop
feet
all day
away
long.
from the
Exactly.
fence, you
We'll
should
move on.
correct that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I
And
wanted
then
to
they-
just,
Yeah.
Do they put, is that a record? They put
Could
that,
be.
so when that person goes to sell their house,
Yeah, could
that
be.
can pop up?
Yeah.
okay, I gotta move on, guys. So something, just a question, I don't know if everyone does this, but it's a great idea to send a customer survey, satisfaction survey to your client, your, whether it's the listing seller or the buyer, and send this little survey, it's great.
Oh.
Even if you get bad news, you know what? It just shows that you can improve on stuff. Don't take it to heart, don't get offended. But it's great, you get a smiley face, you get a frowny face, great question. Did I deliver what I promised? Was I accessible to you? Did I listen? What can I do to improve myself? No one really wants to hear bad things, we all think we're fabulous, but it's great to learn from your mistakes. It really, really is. I've come a long way from when I started, that's for sure. So I'm going to skip through a lot of these slides because we are coming to an end, and it's a great time this is also a great time to make a great impression on your client because you're closing, they're happy, they're getting to their new property. What I do is the perfect time to ask them for a referral, okay? Chat them up, ask them for a referral. Who do you know that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate at the moment? Do you have any friends? Can you think about it?
Who was it that's here said, go to their LinkedIn, find out who all the
Oh,
friends
yeah,
are,
that
and bring
was-
the list,
Yeah.
and
Was
say,
that Kirby Chen?
no.
No,
That was,
But they said,
Philip.
That was Philip.
Philip
give
talking
give
about
them
this
the
guy who
LinkedIn,
did
give them
the
the LinkedIn
suits.
list,
Yeah.
yeah, it said, oh, give me 5 people here, of your
But get a
friends.
referral.
Yeah.
This is the time. They
Yeah.
love you
Yeah.
now. You're shining.
Yeah.
You're beautiful. Also, this is a great time. This is when I get a picture taken, or maybe before. I have the sold sign on the property with the sold. Take a pic with me. You get in front of the sold sign. You have your client sold. Bam. Great for Facebook. Great for everything.
If you can get a
Website.
video, is great. Your iPhone,
Absolutely.
Right at that spot. I
Yeah.
tell you. I
Oh.
did that just recently, it's
golden.
great.
What's that
That's
one?
so good.
A video
A little video.
Oh,
of
yeah.
your clients just talking, about just ask them how.
Do you do it on your phone?
I only, first time I did it
Yeah.
recently.
You can do it on your phone.
On your phone,
And
yeah.
just,
And you
That's
can just load it up
Upload
to
it.
Facebook, whatever you
or
want to do.
It's
YouTube,
fantastic.
YouTube, and that gives you higher ratings than words.
That's right.
I don't know much
So
about it, but I
again,
know.
going back to our checklist, put that on your checklist, okay? So take the time, sit down, you guys, when you're having a cup of coffee and go, what are all these things? And make your notes from beginning to end. Okay, I'm putting in an offer. What do I need to do? Be careful with the offer. The whole list, everything you can think of and what we went through. Things you need to think about, your dates, your timing. How do I want to present myself? What lenders am I going to use? Everything, closing, get the video, get the picture. All these notes, this is your checklist for buyer and a checklist for seller. So you have it done already. This is what it's all about with systems. It's in the MREA book also, to have models and systems in place. Because once you get busy and you, because everyone's a fabulous agent, you're gonna have tons of business. You want to be able to just grab a checklist, grab a sheet, grab your listing package, and run out the door. Go on, listen. You don't want to get on edge. Oh my God, I got to perfect my listing package for that person. We're all doing that sometimes. You're tweaking it. Take the time when you have time off. Perfect your listing, your pre-listing, your listing package, all your little systems. Put it all in place. I have a little, shelving unit file thing from Home Depot that I got with 10 slots, and it's all there. Buyer package, listing package, seller's information. Just grab a sheet, you go, okay? You don't want to be, you have too much else to think about. So, and get that picture and, or video. And put it a part of, on your
If you
checklist.
do a video, just quickly, do you give them the script? 'Cause a lot of people don't know what
No,
to say.
no.
Like,
You don't give them a script, you ask them a question.
Oh, you
Let
ask
them
them,
answer.
oh, I see. You ask them, how did I do?
No.
No, I just asked them, they're really a great couple, and I just asked them, would you mind doing a little testimonial for me that I can use?
So they just spoke.
And they said, sure. It was just as soon, they were just at the house, all excited, and I just sat with them, pulled up my camera, and just, they
Let them
talked,
go.
and
Okay,
let them go.
okay.
And it looks more
Authentic.
authentic.
I agree, yeah.
although I had a picture when I was doing it, I didn't realize there was a mirror. So you could see me holding the camera in the mirror, right? But that was fine too, because it just made it more real, you know?
You get better.
So
Yeah.
last couple,
And your questions and.
yeah, you do. Last couple of minutes, putting it all together, so you have your action plan, you prepare for your, we're supposed to prepare for your final Ignite class, which is
Monday.
coming up. Recall and remember.
It's good, but it takes a long time.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, did you guys enjoy most of your classes?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
It's good, but you sit here and I'm
It's
thinking,
intense.
oh my gosh, I got a call, or I'm trying to
Yeah,
respond, or.
there's a lot
But
to do.
I will say, right now, for me, this is like a dead time.
Yeah.
Like, I have deals closing, but I don't have any, I have 4 buyers that are so fed up.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
yeah.
Then build your pipeline, get going, make some calls.
That's it.
I know,
And also
I know.
time block, I find it so
Yeah,
important.
time block.
It'll set you in a disciplined pattern and put your mind at ease, time blocking.
this was part of that
Take bold.
time blocking, using this time for
That's
my
right.
calls.
Take bold, and it really helps you to be disciplined and set your, although you feel like you're a nervous wreck, and you say, make the calls, you have so much to do, but you just have to put them in little blocks. Once you do that, you have your routine. It's like getting up, okay, I have my cup of coffee, I go to the gym, I come back, you go to the office, just stuff you do every day. You need to just get yourself in the habit of doing that every day, and mom's your uncle after that.
This
You'll
is
be
your-
amazed
this-
how many leads you get.
This course, really honestly, is like a mini bowl, because I've done bold.
Yeah.
And this is really like a mini bowl.
That's right, it is. It is.
Except what you're getting is you're getting the benefit also of a lot of ages like yourself and others who teach the course to provide the tips of what they do, which has also been extremely valuable.
Yeah,
So what is your routine? So from 9 to 12 you lead generate?
yes.
What is your,
So I get up, I'm trying to get up at 5:30, but I'm getting up at 6:30. But I had to train myself to get up at that time. So I get up, go to the gym, coffee for sure, stumble to the coffee maker, then go to the gym. Get back home, shower, change. I have a home office, I have a really nice home office that I set up. I did have an office here, but I find, even though there's distractions at home, it's not for everyone. It depends where you work. My home office is very office-like, so I feel like I'm in my office. Lead gen, 9 to 12,
on phone?
on the phone. I have a purpose. I want to get 5 nurtures. That's what I'm looking at every day. I call them nurtures. I need 5 people that are thinking about buying, selling, moving. And my purpose is to get 5, so I'm calling, I can call, it depending, some days I feel like I'm on a move, I'm feeling really good, I'll dial like 40, 50 people.
So like today you missed, would you do it at night? Because
Yeah.
at night you're gonna need different people.
I do it in the evening,
Yeah.
yeah.
You do it.
These are cold
Yeah, I can
calls?
do, no, I usually do it in the day, 9 to 12, but if I miss in the morning, I still want to get today I want to get my 5 nurtures.
But shouldn't you just do like maybe 3 days a week and then in the morning and 2 days at night? Because,
Everyone has a different routine.
no, just because the people you're getting.
Yeah, you could
people-
rotate it.
You can't call them at work. know.
You could rotate
Yeah.
it,
So
but
are
I
these
find I'm in
phone
that
calls?
routine and it works
And
for me.
Yeah, but you're,
I can do it,
but
if
you're
I'm
not
not
getting the guys
busy
at work.
showing,
You're
if
not
I'm,
getting the guys at work.
no, yeah, if I'm
Yeah.
not listing or have evening appointments,
Yeah.
yes, I will do
Yeah.
it. Like today, I'll do it today.
But seriously, okay, this is because I have no problem cold calling. I never call at night because I really hate being called at night. And by the time people get home, get their dinner, whatever.
Yeah, but those are the guys that you can't get during the day.
Yeah,
You see what
but you
I'm saying?
never know, you see,
Yeah, you
this
never
is
know.
the
That's the
thing
whole
with
business.
agents, we take on
I know.
stuff that we don't need to sometimes.
I know.
You know, it's just like even cold calling. Some agents think, I don't want to call anyone, I'm gonna disturb them, you know.
I guess all you can do is try.
Yeah,
And
or you
here's
can,
the
it's
other
the same
thing
with door
is-
knocking, it's anything, it's really, okay.
Yeah, and here's the thing is you can't say the wrong thing to the right person, like
Yeah,
if they're
true.
thinking
If
about
they're
it.
thinking about
That's
And the
right.
other thing, if you think that you're coming from contribution, hey, are you thinking about making a move or whatever your calls are, you know, you're out there to offer help.
Yeah.
You're doing them a favor.
Yeah, I know, and if they get pissed off, who cares? Next,
And you-
next,
you-
next.
You know what, and really, it's just not a good time. It's just not a good time.
Well, I know.
Call back later or whatever, don't ever call me, all
Well,
right?
this is what I'm saying, you can be all over the place, that's why the most important thing I find, and I have found in my career, is to have a routine. You're asking about that earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah, have your
Okay.
time block, set it up, calls in the morning, sure, you miss it, or alternate, do the evenings 3 times in the morning by 12. In the afternoons, I need a break, lunch, walk my dog. After that, I'm usually working on the nurturers, making sure I have them in the right drip campaign. I put all the
Entering
emails
into
in,
the data.
entering in, great, that person's interested in 90 days, I need to do this, and trying to set, because that's a whole thing on itself also.
And do you follow?
Don't try and combine both. That's what I found went wrong with me.
Yeah.
I just became flustered and it's like, okay. So you get one great lead, it's like, okay, let me go to the website.
Yeah, no, then that's it,
Let me
then
do
you're
this, let me do that. Don't do that.
Yeah,
You're
that's what I-
focusing
Yeah.
just on lead gen for the 2 hours, that's it. I have my notepad with me, there you go, number one, I got my one nurture. I have all the information there. When I get to 2 o'clock, I'm gonna be looking at my notepad and then go to my computer, and go,
So-
great, let me put that in.
Who are you calling, like, these are all cold calls?
Cold calls.
And you're getting the number, where are you getting all the number, where you? what's the
Andy has
strategy?
pulled up a lot of numbers for me, through the, what's
Oh,
that
right, you just
called?
go
Realign.
you go for a street.
I go for streets.
But
I'll
those
pick a
numbers are
street.
washed. Those are washed
Yeah,
numbers, yeah.
they are.
So you're looking, like you said earlier, a house just came up for sale on the
Yeah.
street, you call the street.
That's
Or
right,
a house just sold, you call the street.
exactly. And especially I'm trying to farm my own neighborhood, so I'm looking at certain streets. I'm always driving around and think, yeah, I want to do this street, I love it. I would love to sell on this street, or I just focus on a house sometimes. I do door knocking also, if it's a nice day for weekends. I've been starting to door knock. I think last year I started doing it like more full-time. And I got business.
Do you go
and
alone?
it freaked me out. I did. I have someone that I'm contacting now on Sterling that is thinking of selling in spring, in April. And I just door knocked.
Yeah.
And it was the wife,
Well,
and she said, honey, there's a real estate agent at the door, you want to talk to her? And I was blown away. And they said, well, we're thinking about it. Do you want to come in? Can you see the house right now?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, fake it till you make it. You're
Yeah,
not
do you
prepared.
go alone?
I go low.
And do you see went in the house by
I
yourself?
have gone with Irene, I've
No, but you
gone
got in the house by yourself.
into a house by myself
Yeah.
with one single person.
Yeah.
With like,
Well, the guy said, come on in now.
well, that was a husband and wife.
Yeah, but still. you know.
Yeah. No, you have to be careful.
Yeah.
The other thing
I've
is
had
you have your
situations
phone.
where I've declined, and I said,
Yeah.
I'll wait till your wife gets home.
Yeah, yeah,
And,
Yeah.
and he was serious, but he looked kind of shady to me, and I wasn't gonna go in there.
yeah.
You have your phone with you, and the
Yeah.
other thing is you want someone to know where, I'm door knocking
Well,
that's
myself,
what
and I
Irene
want
said.
somebody
Yeah.
to know where I
Yeah.
am,
Yeah.
and then we have,
You can always call the office too, right? Let the reception know.
Yeah.
yeah,
I used to do that with Royal LePage.
Yeah.
Tell them I'm on open house, looking at homes, this is where I am, and they were good with that.
and the thing at door knocking, it's just timing. It's
Yeah.
just timing, you
Oh, I
be at the
know.
right place at the
Well,
right
see,
time.
And it's more time consuming, but you know what?
It's a
You
numbers
get to
game.
like it.
Yeah.
And I
like
find
that too.
people are super friendly.
Yeah,
That's
They're
what I
not-
find too.
Rarely do I find people who are really nasty.
Yeah.
In fact, they're surprised. A real
I
estate
mean,
agent-
I find the worst thing that happens with door knocking, I've
Yeah.
had the door slammed in my face a couple of times, but really,
Mhm.
hardly ever. Most of the time, if they don't want to answer, I've had them look out the window, like of their porch, and just like go like this.
talk
right?
through the window,
Yeah,
I've
just
done
leave.
that.
You know what's great I find too? A little emblem or a badge that shows that you're a real estate agent. It goes a long way.
Which badge?
Like our
Name
has
badge,
it.
name tag.
Name tag, sorry.
Yeah, that's
Um,
what they call you.
Yeah, as much as it
You
may
mean
look
like one of
old
those
fashioned.
little sticky
You can tag Keller Williams and your name on it. The sticky, no, not the sticky,
No.
that looks kind of
That's
tacky.
tacky.
No, an actual, you get it made, just how you do the gadget with pens and stuff. You get your name,
Oh, yeah.
name badge made.
Not a bad idea.
People like it. I find while I'm talking, they're reading my badge and
Well,
they see
yeah.
that
They
it's
sent you
a
21 you said.
company.
Yeah,
With
and they
their
have
gold
it, so
jackets.
when you hand stuff to them, they'll respond often with your name or
That's
whatever.
right. You look professional. It just shows, well, they're more inclined to talk with you and have a conversation.
Yeah.
If you see you're an official person. Something about that name tag, they feel that,
You could be collecting money.
yeah. Can I ask any ahas for this class? Anyone have anything that really stood out to them or that they want to say that, you know what, I may implement this in my action plan or?
It was reinforcement of what you just said was same, we've heard it from other people,
Mhm.
but just, again, it's reinforcement, is that you don't, when you're doing your cold call, or whatever, your
Legion.
Legion,
legion,
yeah.
thank you. You focus on that and make notes and address the notes later, because that exact
Yeah,
thing is
right.
what you do, and then you're like, woo, I've done this, oh, I'm amazing, and then you get sidetracked.
You're all over
Yeah.
it.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
finding out
correct.
this week, I went to the class on your personal taxes, right?
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden I'm thinking, I gotta organize all my taxes,
Right.
log my mileage, all that
Oh, yeah.
stuff. then Facebook, I gotta get into
That's
Facebook.
right.
So you're already overwhelmed and you haven't even done anything yet.
That's
But
right.
there's so much stuff coming at you,
There's a lot.
but you
There's
have
a
the
lot.
time blocking.
It's time blocking,
That's
and
it.
let that stuff come at you, and guess what, if you can't make that class, don't make that class, your lead gen is more
Yeah.
important to me. You need
Yeah.
to learn, you're learning,
Yeah,
it's
right.
great.
And
So many courses, especially with Keller Williams, you'll always be
Yeah.
able to jump into that class
Yeah.
again. Stick to your
Exactly.
lead gen, it's gonna pay off, because it's gonna be your paycheck.
Well, actually, I found with, how when you were saying you fought cold calling and door
Yes.
knocking, which
Yes.
I find myself doing too.
Yeah.
Like you fight it, you're
You
fighting
fight
it in your
it.
head.
You
You
make up
justify
So it
why.
excuses.
becomes like this
Yeah.
war inside you.
That's right.
When it's like, just
Yeah,
open the
you make
door.
up excuses, oh, my back's hurting, you know what, tomorrow I'm gonna start.
Well, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, you know.
We're all human,
Which
we do
happens,
it.
and stuff comes up too,
Yes,
it's
of course.
easy.
Yeah,
We're all
yeah, it
human,
does.
we do
Yeah.
it. Look, Irene gets most of her business from door knocking.
Right,
I've gone out with her
exactly.
and it's huge.
She's
She's
What
like
is
an
your, so
agent.
do you go with anything, do you have anything with you?
Yeah, I narrowed it down to a clipboard. I take, the souls on the street, because you're bound to get a question
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
and then I said sold, and that's where I'm,
They want
angle
it.
I'm coming from also. But it's mostly an introduction, and, you know, hi, I'm Deborah Robinson, I work with Keller Williams, nice to meet you. I'm working with a ton of buyers, and you know the real estate market is very, very hot right now. There's not so much on the market, and I was just wondering, do you know of anyone thinking of listing their home or moving? I'm coming in from an angle where I'm not asking them directly, so I'm asking, do you know if your neighbors are thinking of selling or
Yeah.
moving at this time?
I
It's a
think
little bit of a twist, it's tricky, because I find usually if you ask them directly, they'll
Then they
say,
get
no,
it.
no, they're gonna take me out of the box, I'm not moving from here. So it kind of changes the question and throws them off, and then they start to think, oh no, and I've gotten people who are like, this one, they're like, their mom just died, I think they're thinking of selling, and, well, that's great, you know, and you start building a rapport, and then then I get into,
Yeah.
have you ever thought about selling? You have such a beautiful home. Always compliment them on their home, even if it looks crappy. And start to get into that with them. And sometimes you get that too. That's my angle. It can be whatever angle you
Yeah.
want.
I had
Different
Margie K. knocked on my door one time.
Oh, really? She herself?
Yeah,
Oh.
and I was so surprised to see her, because I've seen her, you can see her.
You see her
So I was
billboard,
all
yeah.
excited, Margie K! And she, you know what she was doing? She was trying to stick her head in the house, which kind of bothered me. You
That's
could
kinda
see
rude.
she was trying to like
Really?
get in a little
That
bit.
must have been a long time ago.
No, this was, well, 2 years ago?
Margie did, was
Margie.
door knocking?
Yeah.
were you on her team or something?
Yeah, well, I used to do a lot of open
That's
houses
just surprised me to
like
see
for
her.
years when I first started.
Who did she
Yeah.
work with?
She's the
Penny,
team leader.
Penny Toms and, well, it's now down to Penny Toms and Donna, who is their men's assistant, but Terry Wolf
Okay, maybe
used to be
more,
part of
maybe
it.
about 2 years.
Which office were
Within
you at?
5 years, for sure.
I was at 55 St. Clair for 10 years.
Okay.
And then I went down to Royal LePage or Community at Jarvis and King.
Wow, downtown girl.
Just for like a year and a half.
Oh,
Jarvis and
it's
King.
right
They
at
were
the corner,
franchised.
the corner, yeah.
Yeah,
I got a picture of the building.
yeah, great building, great office
Like
space.
it's before it was on page.
Yeah.
I can't, was it the cheese place?
I'm not sure, it's a great office space. Here's my number if anyone wants to call me anytime.
I got it.
You can, yeah, plug me into your phone if you're in a tricky
What's
situation.
her name at 55 St. Clair?
Thank you.
Diane, thanks so much.
No,
Yeah, no
that's-
worries.
No.
Diane was the broker there.
No, who's the, that used to do all the business?
Oh, Ellie David?
Ellie Davis, yeah.
Oh, wow, she rules.
Yeah. She was a kindergarten teacher or something.
Yeah, that was years ago.
Yeah.
There are a lot of top producing
Yeah,
agents out of
yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
They're top producers everywhere.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Guess
They're
what?
everywhere, yeah.
You know what? We're all top producers. You just gotta discipline yourself and get there. They all started like that.
We're all
I
top producers.
I assisted Carol, what's her name? Carol, she works at, Royal LePage at Mount Pleasant.
Long.
Yeah.
No?
No,
I got it.
forgot her last name. She does all of Forest Hill though, and she was winging it when I worked for her. I asked her to, you know, do you need an assistant? Can I help you? She's like, yeah, right, sure. And I started working with her. She was selling $1 million properties. Sure, her marketing package was great, but no follow-up. It's just a rapport, you know. Hey, honey, how you doing? So we're selling, you know, she's talking to agents. It's a different selling
Yeah.
game in that price point. She knew people that
It's
were
connections and
Yeah.
Connections.
networking and.
But she didn't really have any systems in place, and that's what she wanted. She's like, yeah, we need to get, you know, I need a good listing presentation I can just grab and go, and she didn't have any of that. So this is all great. We have so much stuff on Ignite. We could put together your listing package. I did mine
But we're on the pages
from
have all those,
Edge.
we're on
It's
the
awesome.
pages have all that stuff.
I'm sorry?
We're on the pages that have all those pamphlets and stuff.
Yeah,
They do, they
Yeah.
do. They have a lot of,
Yeah.
they've improved actually since I've been there. I think they're, people are
30 years ago, they had
competing
all
with
that stuff.
I think so.
yeah, but
too.
it's not, it wasn't really put together for you in a very,
User-friendly fashion.
yeah.
Yeah.
This, what we have here, this resource of information is huge, guys. If you tap into it, I use a lot of it. I use it for scripts,
Yeah.
pre-listing and listing.
Ernie, I was